Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the PUBG Mobile Club Open Fall Split 2020 Indian Edition. My name is Anga Singh Chahal. I go by the experiment, and with me is Animesh Agarwal. You might know him better as 8-Bit Thug, and today we start off with the semifinals day one. Thug, how are you doing, my dear friend?
I am super excited today because I'm just waiting to see how these teams fare because what we are gonna see today is the fight for glory. It begins today. Until now, it were groups. Then we had some disqualifications, but right now we have joined in to see these teams fight it out, and we have 14 teams fighting today.
You know, I love it that you have a larger than life personality and your voice, in fact, also. It was almost as if I could hear two of you. That is awesome. That is how big you are. And of course, that's just a joke right now. But yes, today is an exciting day, and it all has come down to this. Now, we've gotten done with all the drama that we witnessed over the last week, which was actually kind of exciting if you think about it. But the final 21 teams have made it to the semifinals. And today we're going to have a showdown between two groups. And Thug, like you said it, everything is going to be on the line today, and I'm pretty sure the people want to see what else is on the line. And why don't you take us away with that?
Yeah, definitely. Looking at the way the seeding rounds turned up yesterday, I mean, like we saw finally the big guns stepping up, and but let's quickly see the price pool, which we have been discussing. The top five teams having a grab over 2,600 for the first place, $600 for the second, and then we have $1,100 going to third to fifth. But the most important part is that they qualify for PMPL season 2. That is the road to ultimate glory. But talking about the way we saw the seeding round go around happen last night, where we saw Team XSpark and a couple of teams that we were seeing perform really well over the first week and the opening week, who were not really able to perform up to the mark. So at the beginning of our discussion yesterday, we discussed about what if the fair ground changes the way we have seen this tournament in the opening weekend, and I think that is what we might get to see here on.
Absolutely. We're going to see a lot of action today, and the action is going to be all for this on your screens right now. The placement points, and 1 kill equals 1 point. Now, we've said it time in and time out. That means it calls for more exciting games, a high kill meta game, and as viewers, it's definitely going to be a lot more entertaining. But yes, coming back to what you had just mentioned about teams like XSpark, I love the fact that PUBG Mobile A acted so quick, and over here we strive to make it a fair play, as fair as play can be possible, and have an even battlefield for all our players. So I think that is commendable. And the teams that are going to be participating today are VR1 Esports, AZTECS, Futurestation, UP50 Esports, FINTOX, Nalayk. They finally made it. I think they should have a change of name over here. And Lord Fam. If you make it to the semifinals, Thug, I'm pretty sure you're not Nalayks, right?
Yeah, not really. I mean, like, but then the road to semifinals are pretty easy because the competitors, or maybe you can call the cheaters, got eliminated. So these guys got a straight up qualification into the semifinals. If you look at Group B, we do have the 4 teams. In addition to them, we have LegStump, STALWART Esports, and Nox Official. Group B, by the looks of it, does look like a stacked group, and we might get to see teams going against this particular group have to be wary when they have Group B against them.
Absolutely, and it is a hotly contested group, but Group C, XSpark, some of the crowd favorites, and probably the tournament favorites, followed by Team, wait a second, was that INGL? Of course, we always call them MVP. That is just amazing. And Team ESN, HEX ReaperX, and BlitzkriegXP. Now, BlitzkriegXP, they've been kind of dormant on the road over here, on the journey so far to the semifinals, but I want to see them actually live up to their name and strike hard and strike fast and, just put up a good show. But I'm excited. And today, of course, I do believe it's going to be Group A going head-to-head with Group B. So there's going to be a lot of sparks flying in the air.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, like the way we have seen this teams play, especially Blitzkrieg, rightly spotted, they were able to manage only 2 points in the seeding round. Right now, we will have 2 Erangels, 1 Sanhok and 1 Vikendi today. So, dual Erangels, we are seeing a fight between Group A versus B. So, I'm expecting a cracker of a day. Sanhok, Vikendi, Erangel, no Miramas. So, we got to see all fast-paced games. Vikendi might just get slow during the mid-game, but then generally Vikendi is fast-paced as well.
Let's see if Vikendi actually lives up to the hype, because, off late, we've seen some early engagements, which makes it kind of interesting. But then throughout the rest of the match, it's kind of dull. There's not a lot happening, no blood on the snow as we like watching. But it does call for long maps. But then again, we get to see the tactical prowess of a lot of the teams that have participated. And, well, I'm eagerly waiting to see what these boys and girls are going to bring to the table today. And again, like I said, I love it that it's a level playing field, and may the best man win.
Yeah, I
or
mean,
woman.
like, obviously, I believe
21st
it's.
century.
Yes, I mean, survival of the fittest is what applies, be in the virtual world or the real world. But I mean, like, looking at the way that we got to see a very different result in the seeding round,
Mhm.
unlike what we have seen in the opening weekend. Team XSpark were unable to get a single chicken dinner. We see MYM come on top. We saw FALLENangelz be at their absolute best. I think they played 2 games, and both the games they had a pretty good average. In which one of the games they had 32 points to their name.
Absolutely, but the thing is, it was a seeding round, so we did kind of mention that you can kind of take it easy, just to throw your opponents off guard, or just to take a break if you wish to do that. But again, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because you take it easy and you kind of expose yourself to the enemy, but if you still give it your best, you're still tackling with the best of the best, and you're going to improve yourself. But it is what it is, and they are still going to play everyone else. So I guess. Everyone wants to jump in the action right now, Thug. And before we get into the game, Erangel, of course, the first game of the day, who do you think is going to come out on top? I know it's a little, I'm putting you on the spot, but, we saw the seeding. Who do you think is just going to snatch away victory?
So I saw this news that STALWART Esports had some device issue, and that is why they weren't able to perform that well. By the looks of it, I think STALWARTs could be one team that I personally want. So this is a very off bet that I'm making talking about STALWART Esports, but I believe that these boys have good talent in them, and I think they might just be able to come up on top. I would like to see how STALWARTs come up, and also we have Mayhem playing, I think, in Group B, if I'm not wrong. So Mayhem
Mhm.
is also definitely a front runner if we see against all these teams.
Definitely, and just to add to the teams, I think
Hmm.
they're excellent choices. I would have probably said the same. I want to add Team Insane to that list as well because they had a slow start at the beginning, but I think the last day, on day 4, they really showed what they're made of. And during the seeding rounds, also they had a few hiccups, but they did show those glimpses of brilliance, as I keep saying again and again. And these are teams to look out for. Of course, we're going to have Futurestation in the mix as well as UP50, who, if you remember in the last game in the seeding round, they kind of surprised us.
Yeah, UP50. I remember the game of Erangel, if I'm not wrong. The fight was happening around Rozok Hill, where UP50
Mhm.
did a great job surviving against Reckoning. I remember those lob nades coming up, and then finally Fallen Angels came into play from the squad house in the ward near the Water City. They entered the scene and they entirely changed the scene. But then, yes, I believe we got to see more of that today. And without much ado, let's quickly hop into the game, XP.
Alrighty, well, ladies and gentlemen, the plane is in the sky for the first time this day on day 1 of the semi-finals, and we're flying from Primorsk all the way to Milta Power. So all you boys and girls who love dropping to the military island, well, now is your chance. But are the teams going to drop in the military base, or are they going to drive up to those distant locations that you see on top of the map? Now, if I was on that plane, Thug, military base, 100%. What about you?
I think obviously military base or Novorep, like we said, but my bias is always towards the island or Novorep. Whenever I see a flight path that allows us to, without much taking much pain, allows us to get a drop near Novorep or military base. But right now, what I see that it's a very southern biased flight path. I'm not really sure how the teams would fare in this particular flight path. They might have to pick up some vehicles early on and drive their way to the drops because the circle still sometime before we get to have a glance of the circle. But by the looks of it, Stalwart is using the normal rotation by the side of Query where they'll get multiple vehicles. I'm a little bit worried about the teams that might want to make their way towards Yasnaya, Mansion, Rozok, because I see a lot of teams dropping around Shelter Prison. And from all I know, there are not much vehicles available. And talking about the circle looks towards the ruins and Gatka side. So yes, teams do have a lot of work to do right now.
Well, they definitely have the work cut out, and I think Georgia Paul might be a hotly contested location in case some teams decide to drive up. But I see a couple of teams heading in Puchinki's direction. Now, VR1 Esports looks like they are going to be calling it their hometown before Insane, who kind of seem to have dropped off a little bit towards the farm. Now, we've seen these drops earlier on. Of course, you mentioned Fnatic recently, so it's kind of a similar drop, and I think it makes sense, but you have to be versatile because in my opinion, loot is going to be a little limited, and you've got to make the best of the situation, and you've got to be good as an individual. And of course, you've got to make sure that you keep your eyes and wits about you. But I want to see some action, and I think we might see that down south on the military base where Nalayk, we saw them drop here earlier as well. They might be in a good position to pick a fight with Optimum, as will Lord Fam probably pick a fight with FINTOX.
Yeah, and here we have VR1 as well. I do see a couple of drops like you mentioned, but I see VR1 dropping at Pochinki, and today I don't see any team contesting them. I don't think ESN is a part of this grouping, or else you might get to see ESN coming in the scene. But right now, also talking about AZTECS, Frost, Dark Lord, Satan, and Mighty. They're a good side. They're a very experienced side, but they haven't been able to perform that well. I mean, like we haven't seen. Apart from, I think they had one good game in the opening week, but after that they haven't been able to maintain that consistency. So what do you think could be the reason behind it?
Well, I guess, we already talked about this situation a little while earlier that, we had a few elements, a few rotten elements, a few rotten apples, if you will, that kind of changed the whole way the game is played. And of course, now that it's even Stevens, I think it might kind of change their luck because, we can't prove it, but it is possible that they did go down to those elements earlier on, but I guess they might just showcase what they've got now because they have finally made it to the semi-finals. And well, as we've said before, it's make it or break it. Either you go all in and reap all the rewards and the glory, or, well, you are going to fizzle out and be, well, I dare not say this, but like a fragment in our history. I don't know why I'm being so philosophical today, but that's how I see it. It's their chance to shine right now, and I guess they're going to give it their all. Let's see what they're made of.
Yes, absolutely correct. And here we have UP50, Eddie, Dr. Mammu, Sarkar, and KSR dropping near Gatka. But to be honest, UP50 after that finish on a high last night. I hope they're able to continue the same momentum because this is what would help them, especially in this particular drop where they are completely favored by the circle. They just need to ensure that they have the best spot in the circle and they are not messing around with their position. Right now we also have FINTOX Esports, Explicit Royal, Hunt and View in front of us. Haven't seen too much of a great performance from them, but then obviously we still have a long way to go. And to be honest, this tournament was full of hiccups until yesterday, and now we have a balanced ground, so I won't really be making too much of a judgments about the gameplay because still wait, watch and see.
There you have it. That is what we're going to do. We're going to wait, we're going to watch, and we are going to see who is going to come out on top. Of course, today is just day one, and we have a week-long extravaganza stored for you. And it's kind of funny that Mafia is running behind while his teammates have left in a vehicle. Of course, that is a two-seater, so it makes sense. But I would definitely not want to be the guy who's left behind. It is a game, but it still kind of blows that, you have to run behind your vehicle. I hope he gets picked up soon. But on our screens right now, Lord Fam. Now, Lord Fam is another team that, they've had their moments in the sun. However, I think they just need to push a little bit harder and, showcase what they're really made of. But, well, on the other hand, we have Team MYM, who have finally, and, they've finally really woken up. They were kind of dormant in the beginning, but I think they're finally getting comfortable in their skin and in the gameplay and, of course, the level playing field, right?
Right. I mean, like the way they have been, it takes time when you adapt to such a competitive environment. And I've seen that all the teams getting comfortable as the tournament progresses. I mean, like that's the reason why I guess PUBG Mobile decided that 2-day, 3-day tournaments don't really help the cause, and it becomes more of a fluke where a team just wins a tournament over a period of 2 days. But when we really want to test them on a actual basis, that's when we require higher bigger tournaments. But right now we had Bash trying to take some shots on Nalayk Dark God, but Nalayk Dark God made his way and escaped the bullets of Bash, and now I guess Bash and Razor might just want to rotate or follow them. No, they won't. They just want to ensure that they cross the bridge and move to the safer parts in the circle.
I think that is the right decision right now because they finally realized that, okay, we had company on the military base and, well, they are heading right. They're probably heading towards the No Rep Noi bridge. So, now is their chance to actually go ahead and cross that bridge. And Nalayk is doing kind of like a similar thing. If you have a look, Dominator was just the lookout for them. He was trying to scout and see whether the team is going to be waiting for them on the bridge or whether they've gone through. Now, it's going to be a little tricky in case Optimum decide to, hold up and do a little bit of a bridge block. But that hasn't really been the case in the last few games. We haven't really seen any bridge blocks. Everyone is going to prefer to go to the zone, which, of course, as I say it out loud, makes sense. But we miss out on the excitement.
Yeah, I mean, like, I believe that bridge block is something that teams nowadays fear to do as well. We have seen instances where bridge block made teams extend around the blue zone for a long time, which, like, you can get those 4 kills. I'm not saying that if you know those tricks carefully, if you implement them nicely, you might get those focus. But generally, I've seen the team or being on the losing end, Satan going down, Optimum trying to chase the player on the buggy and picking him off. Bash did go down, but then he would be revived. But these boys need to be very Optimum insane that which are in the close proximity of Optimum right now.
Well, he did go down, but what a reaction by the Dark Lord Satan himself from AZTECS ESP. I mean, he got out of his buggy, took damage from that, still got a knock and was taken down. So, you know, he did go down, but he at least went down fighting. So that is something that we want to see more from these teams. They're not going to run away from a fight. I think it was just that, you know, he went over that little jump. And we all know the buggy is not the most reliable vehicle in such situations. And he kind of spun out and he knew it that, you know, his time was now. But now, Insane, Team Insane. We've talked about them in Shockwave yesterday. He made a lot of shockwaves with those beautiful clutches on display for us. They might go up against Optimum Esports on this hillside. But the question is, the zone is about to close in, and is it going to be a viable option as Razor has that M14, the Mini 14? Ooh, he does deliver a few shots, but takes a massive hit in return.
Yes, and right now we are going to see a lot of fight around the southern part of the zone, and I think that's because teams might be just trying to favor the southern and the eastern part. But I believe that the best case scenario here is teams go and actually take the compounds in Gatka. What's your opinion actually when we have a zone centered around Gatka? Because from what I've seen, Gatka has a lot of compounds in it. Like, you know, even around those two trenches, there are at least 8 different buildings that you can actually take up. And here, like Gatka is right in the center, like exactly the center. I believe that team that dropped down to Pochinki might just extend their placement, the time that they spend in Pochinki. But apart from that, team need to move around Gatka. Look at VR1. VR1 has taken the southern side. Still, there is another compound that another team can come and take away. And we know, like even the southern side of Gatka, there are so many scores. So what do you think should be the strategies? And you have casted so many games, you have observed so many games. What is the best case scenario in this kind of a circle?
All right, suppose the circle is this big and we have so many compounds. I think the best thing would be to go and pick a slot, pick a compound if you have good enough loot. Reason being, you are surrounded by open plain fields, right? And the best thing is the higher up you are, the more vision you have. So if you have some sharpshooters in your team, you definitely station them on the first or second floor of buildings or on roofs, as we see, and have a look at how Punk will have a good 360-degree view of the entire lay of the land around him. So that is something that is definitely going to be a massive help. Of course, the trench kind of helps as well, but the only problem with the trenches or the irrigation canals is that it is way too exposed. And well, you can easily take down a team in case you are, you know, fortifying that position. However, if a couple of teams kind of pile up on you, it just becomes a little bit difficult. But, you know, even in compounds, you've got to be careful about the grenades and you've got to be able to hold your angles, and everyone needs to do the job right. So in my opinion, in Gatka, if you have a compound, by all means, take that compound and hold it down.
Yeah, and also, you know, like I mean, like you're absolutely correct about the canals and the, you know, the trenches which I was talking about. But I've seen a lot of teams actually convert that position into chickens. I don't know why that still looks like meta. I think that's because teams lack strategy when it comes to pushing those trenches. Yeah.
See, I think the thing with the trenches is that you have this amazing third-person perspective view that you can see, and you can literally like mole rats or, you know, like meerkats. You can just pop up, take a shot, go back down. So it's that perfect, you know, shock and awe kind of situation. And if you can capitalize it well with smoke grenades and you know, play well with your throwables, your fragmentation grenades, or what have you, then I think it can be really well, you know, defended. But again, you've got to have the experience and you've got to be quick on the trigger.
Yeah, and so, you know, also talking about the trenches, there's one more uniqueness about the trenches. Whenever I've seen that the whole trench is inside the circle, that is when the trenches fail to you know, make it to the end. That's because, you know, one end is very difficult. The lob, the circle end towards the end of the trench, that has that that does not have that cemented part. That becomes a place where you get exposed from. I've generally seen that teams jump into it.
You know,
yeah.
I kind of agree with you, but I have to say that if you can defend that particular pit, oh my goodness, there's nothing better, because you can actually hide from people in the trench as well. And, you know, it all comes down to the zone.
Yeah, I mean, like also zone and the skill set. Like, you know, I mean, like what you said, I've seen teams do that. If you are BTR, then you might be able to do that. But then it's not easy for everyone. We are talking about a very generic competitive team. But
boys and girls, you heard it here first by 8-Bit Thug. Only if you're BTR can you do that. So let's prove him wrong.
Yes, and let's talk about the way teams are holding. I think this zone might move towards Pochinki by the looks of it, but we'll have to wait, watch, and see. And it's still,
that is too perfect.
It's still teams could be in a dilemma. But looking at the way Insane is holding their position, looks like the Dredge might turn out to be a boon for them. But right now, it's a very concentric shrinking of the circle, so teams would not be too much in a hurry or a mess as to in regards to their movements. But I still believe we might get to see a very tight and a cluttered end circle. I mean, like, this is the fourth circle if I'm not wrong. Yes, okay, it's the third circle. And okay, the number just changed in front of our eyes. So this is the third circle, and once we move to the next, I think it's going to be very difficult. Nox Mayank. Okay, ooh. I thought I was watching Nox Mayank, but then I realized Nox Mayank is at a different position. Did a great job taking out Nalayk. Ninja, he might just well go down.
Elsewhere, we have Sarung taking a fight with Reckoning as Clowny goes down, but that was a good knock by Mayank. And what was Ninja doing all the way over here? Now, again, like I said, compounds, you've got to be careful about compounds because they are definitely going to be hotly contested. And, well, Mayank gets his kill, confirms the kill on Ninja as he is getting shot by Dark God, who in turn gets taken down by King Ankit. And King Ankit is going to go ahead and confirm his kill as well. And now we have two-member Nalayk up against Nox Esports, Nox official, I beg your pardon. And I wonder what is going to happen over here because they are in the zone. Well, they're not really in the zone. Only one member is, and the others are going to have to move around. So I think the best situation for them right now is either A, they storm that squad house where the two remaining members of Nalayk are located. And of course, Mayank has an idea that that particular compound is already, occupied. Or they can actually circle around and head into Pochinki. So they have a lot of options. And, just coming back to the circles real quick, remember back in geometry class when we used to get the compass and just, increase the radius or decrease the radius? It's like that. It's like a perfect circle. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, the way the circle and the way this game is moving forward, is moving ahead, I think it's a good game for the semi-finals. I think a good start that we were looking for. Their teams might be looking because you don't really want to, get the adrenaline rush from the game one itself. But looking at the way these teams are pushing in, I don't think no one can stop them having from the adrenaline rush. We have Nox moving in, and what a great strategy. One of the players,
brilliant,
holding the ridge, trying to give that curve up while three players moving in. This is something I see good teams do that, and nice to see that we are seeing a team like Nox do it. And what a great push coming towards Nalayk. Dominated the last guy standing, and I think Dominator might go down as well. It's a 1v3 situation. Mayank might want to move in, and that's a good move from Nox to take in like 5 kills for them and all.
Absolutely, that was a brilliant move. I thought for a second, what is this man doing? And then I saw that knock coming in. I'm like, that was perfection. But now Dominator, 1-on-4 situation against Nox official. All the odds are stacked against him, and he's going to get a knock. He gets one man. King Ankit, he's trying to confirm that kill because he wants those kill points for his team. However, it is a bit too short, and he is going to bow out. And with that, Nox official are going to be... They did good. They did really good. And in fact, I was going to say that Nox official were kind of dominating, which they are because you did mention they got, I do believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they had a kill from before. Right. So 5 kills to their name. And, Nalayk are going to be the first team to be eliminated.
Yes, and also look at the circle, actually. The circle once again has perfectly. This is like, you just love it. It's like so, you can call it an ASMR effect. It's so satisfying.
And I love the fact that the trenches, I beg your pardon, are still in place. So that's going to be
so,
exciting. I hope it shifts there so we can have a little argument.
Everything that we discussed in that part would come into play. And we'll get to see how exactly these teams fare. And here we have LS. Okay, so we have UP50, Dr. Mahmood trying to take Sarang down. And Sarang gets wiped out. Eventually, we have UP50 looking strong. They're out in the open. They are split. They have those vehicles running. They are moving out in the open. So they need to be a little bit careful because the fourth circle things would get a little bit more riskier. Movements might have to be done with a lot of caution, but let's wait and see. Meanwhile, we have UP50 trying to look for a compound, if I'm not wrong, and they would want to make their way inside the circle. Right now, STALWART looks so very comfortable with that place inside the red house.
That is actually a good spot right now, and of course we're going to have to wait and find out what's going to happen because now every team is going to be coming closer to one another. They're going to be getting in. Exotic goes down courtesy of Bash's M4, and Razor is going to make sure that he gets the kill and confirms it. Now Bhishma is trying desperately to lob some smoke cover to pick up his fallen comrade, and I guess that's enough smoke. However, he's got to be careful because on the right flank we have Nox official and Lord Fam are moving into that warehouse, so they're going to have a little bit of a fortified situation. And right now Bhishma is just trying to make sure that Syringe is in a safe spot to be picked up. But again, they've got to be careful because now I did mention 2 enemies. We have STALWART Esports, I do believe, coming in the picture as well. So they've got to act quick. And now LF are in a good position at the edge of the zone. Only the problem is only half the compound is in the zone. So they've got to move quick as Nox are moving in and Daxus gets a knock on King Ankit. Now this is going to be amazing because they both have 1 man down. But I do believe Lord Fam are going to pick up their fallen man.
Yeah, and LF are at a good spot. Nox did the boys from Nox do look like they're in a little bit of trouble here, with LF taking them by surprise and moving in. Boys are holding the terrace, but right now LF are split among 2 compounds, so they have the opportunity to lob some nades towards the terrace from the red house. Also, I see one of the LF players moving up the roof. Okay, no, they aren't. I thought I saw one of the guys on the roof, which could have been riskier because generally you get third-parted from the hill behind you. Meanwhile, LF Mamba took a shot at Insane Spray God and Blaze came up with a knock for LS Syringe.
That is, of course, action going on elsewhere. Now, this is what we're talking about. As the circles are shrinking, we are going to see action galore. And that's a good grenade by Kiru, but I do believe they're going to hear it in time. It wasn't cooked. Wait a second. Hot Shot is going to come in and get some knocks on Daxus. Now, this is the knock they needed. All the members from Lord Fam are going to be rushing in bloodthirsty. I'm pretty sure they heard that vehicle. King Ankit, you might have had a chance to get away. Is that going to come and bite you later on? Kiru hears him. King Ankit is on the offensive over here. He knows that he is not only fighting a squad, he is fighting the blue zone as well, and he doesn't really have a lot of health kits on him, but now he is in a situation that he's actually holding on, and somehow Spray God from Insane comes and gets that knock. So this is just, I mean, what is happening? This is absolute pandemonium. I thought that one team would get it, but no, it's a third team that comes in and gets the kill. Now, as the circle has shrunk, we see LF Mamba. He is still going hard with that card 98. Is that another knock or is that a finish? I do believe it's another headshot. So I am very happy. And Lord Fam right now, like I said, that they were in a good position, but Thug, they're going to have to move in, and with all the squads that are in front of them who are now aware of their position since they've been knocking them, it might be a little tricky.
Right, and looking at the way the big names are performing today, I mean, like, they're stepping out exactly when it matters. We have MYM, and talking about big names, we just see MYM wiping out Optimum, and I think the Optimum squad just got wiped out by Manav alone. And here we have FS, Winterstorm, Pukar, Somraj, Bob Dope, 4 players holding a compound, but they need to be careful. They aren't able to get those kills. So actually, this is that position where teams are in 2 minds. They think that let's get those kills because getting into a circle might be risky, and they end up not getting kills. What do you think should be the approach? How much time do they think they can link up? But here we have a crazy fight between VR1 and they are wiping out. And I think that was the RG. They completely wiped out RG, or they took off a couple of players.
I do believe I'm going to have to wait and see because that was just absolutely chaotic. I think RG still has a few members alive. We're going to make sure we get that news for you right now. But Razor and Muiz are the last members up from Optimum Esports, and they are trying to lob grenades. And in fact, AZTECS Esports are the ones who are going to bow out of this game in the 12th position. I'm going to come to your point in a second because I actually do have a point to make. But just have a look at this chaos right now. Now, I'm going to just add to that point that yes, the compounds are definitely going to be, forget that. Daz with 3 kills. I think he took himself out as well. Was that one of those nades that, you know, it's like you've lost all hope and the team is rushing in on you? He's like, you know what, I'm just going to throw this at my feet, and kaboom, he took down a few members with him. We're going to have to wait and see if we can get that action for you in a replay perhaps, but this is just absolutely chaotic. In fact, Optimum Esports are making the best of the situation. They are going up against Team MYM. Sensei gets a knock on Muiz, and Razor is going to go up against 3 members. I think Immortal might have an idea where the enemy is. Razor goes in, Razor shoots, he connects, and down goes Immortal. However, he's going to confirm that kill, but where is the rest of Team MYM? Manav and Sensei are moving in, but it might just be a little too late. A 1-on-2 situation. Thug, who's going to come out on top?
I mean, look at the way Sensei is and Manav are moving in. It could be MYM trying to capitalize, and yes, they do, and he missed by an inch, but it still would have been very difficult. Even if Manav would have been taken down, Sensei might have would have come in, barged in, and with that cover fire would have wiped out Optimum. Good stuff by Optimum, but unfortunately failed to make it into the top charts. Yes.
Absolutely. You know, just have a look at how Lord Fama plays right now. Now they have the only big compound in the zone, right? Now their plan of action. Look at the way Kiru is making sure he's smoked out in that ridge to the right of our screens right now, so that he can have a lay of the land from Team 12 in case they want to approach from that direction. And the other members are spaced out in every single direction. I firmly believe it's a lot easier to defend a location if all 4 members know exactly what they're doing. And right now for me, Lord Fam are probably one of the hot teams to take this all. But of course, you can't take away anything from teams such as Team MYM. Although they just have 2 players alive, we know that under the tutelage of Sensei, they can do a lot. But just as I say that, LF Mamba gets a knock on Manav. And I don't think a push is going to be coming through, even though Sensei needs to move in. So they're going to have their eyes peeled out for that last remaining member. But this is what I'm talking about. A lot easier to defend.
Right, and the way LF have control over the circle, I believe LF should not shy away from taking their chicken dinner. I think anything below a chicken dinner is not acceptable in case of LF. They have the height, they have all the advantage that they wanted. If you see the compound that they are in, also the way Kiru, I think that guy is Kiru has taken the entry point from the top, Kiru and Hotshot in fact, so they have had all the angles covered. But I believe LF just needs to hold their ground. They need to ensure they don't allow anyone to close in a lot. VR1 is also doing a great job. Right now we have VR1, Punk and Deuce getting those 3 kills in. And Team Insane, you were talking about them and they are looking so strong right now. 4 men alive and Deuce is doing a good job for his team. Just eliminated FINTOX down to top 5.
And he did have 4 kills as well. So that is a wonderful performance by Deuce over here. Of course, Punk is probably feeling lucky because he is on low HP, but it is a 2-man squad. Again, we know that VR1 can actually lay down some heavy fire. And Lord over here is going to make sure that UP50 Esports bite the dust as they get knocked out in the 5th position with 2 kills in Lord Fam. If he gets a peek of Manav, well, it doesn't matter because Manav is going to succumb to his injuries and the blue zone as well. So right now we are in a good situation over here. Sensei, the last man standing for Team MYM, up against a 4-man Lord Fam, a 4-man Team Insane, and if my maths is correct, 2 members from VR1 Esports.
Yes, and looking at the way we are placed in top 4, we have 4v4, v1v2, and Sensei seems to be in a very interesting spot. If it does not get spotted by LF, Sensei might just be able to survive, but that smoke could have been a tricky one as LF might have noticed a smoke coming out and they might want to have a peek, take a peek and see which are those players, if there's any threat towards their left. But right now, looking at the way Insane and LF are placed, LF got it. I mean, like I said, nothing below a chicken dinner. They should not accept or compromise at anything below a chicken dinner. This is their chance to get an early lead.
All right, you know what I think can happen right now? Insane, they're wasting time right now. They need to make sure, you see that position right in the middle, you see those rocks and just south of that drop, there's a little bit of a ridge over there, just a little bit of a dip.
They want to get
right
there.
Above that single lock. They need to get there with their vehicles, lock that position down, smoke it out, and then they can be in a good position to pick a fight with LF. But LF over here, they can stop them, especially Lord and Kiru. They're going to get first dibs on any vehicle moving out, and Insane IT Prince can actually be the guy who's going to be behind and just laying down lead in the enemy's direction. That could be a possibility. I think they're going to move in, and from this direction, VR1 comes in as well, and that is exactly the spot they have taken. Prince, the first man in the line of duty, he goes up ahead. Is he going to be able to secure it? I think Thug, they've just secured it because a member from LF is down. Mamba goes down courtesy of IT Prince, and Insane's Shockwave is going down to Punk. So we have a 3-way situation right now, and this is exciting.
Yes, and looking at the way we are having a 4-way situation, in fact, although VR1 is trying to come up with some third party, MYM Sensei is playing a very passive role. The time Sensei steps up, that's when game might get interesting. And VR1 just gave LF the time to, work on their mistakes. They gave them the time to heal up. And now things could look difficult for Insane. Punk is putting up a nade up, and this nade could just make a couple of players off. And he's super lucky that they did not get those knocks. And Sensei came in. Third party's Deuce, and I think VR1 is down to 1 man. Punk coming up with those nades back to back, and we might get to see something very different from this game as well.
Wonderful performance by Deuce over there, but Insane, they are in a lot of trouble. But what are you guys doing clumped up? Now's the time you get prone and you get as much ground as you can. However, that is not what's happening. But there's still a 4-man squad, so there's still hope for them. Now, LF, again, they don't really have to move out. Well, in fact, you know what? They have to move out. They finally have to move out, and Punk is going to catch Sensei as Team MYM are going to go out. But he does get knocked out of by Insane as well. So, I mean, it's a give and take. He took a kill with him, went out, and, well, he got the third position. So placement points are definitely something that VR1 have earned. But now we are down to a rare 4v4 situation. 2 teams alive, only one will come out on top. Is it going to be Lord Fam or is it going to be Team Insane? Now, Lord Fam, they've shown us quite a few good games, but Team Insane, this is their chance for reckoning. And I like the way Kiru's making it back to cover, but I thought so. He gets knocked out and, well, he gets spotted by IT Prince, taken out. 3v4 situation. LF now have to move, and Insane have kind of turned the tables.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at the wall just behind LF. Oh, that's a great knock.
Beautiful.
That's a very beautiful nade coming from
inside.
I mean, like, that was a good spotting, and now they just need to move in. I mean, like, they must have realized it's a 4v2 situation, but Shockwave wants to ensure that they play the safest and don't really want to risk much. It's another nade coming on, and I think that would not really connect, but I think Prince is trying to connect some shots. Insane gave LF the time to heal there. Remember, I'm not really sure of the strategy, but then finally it's Puali picking off Mamba, and now it's gonna be one single push. All the players are spotted. Insane is moving in, and that's a lovely chicken dinner coming from in the hands of Insane. They did some good job out there, but obviously not taking away the credit from Lord Fam as an underdog. As a new team, they did a good job against the veterans.
Well, the winner chicken dinner goes to Team Insane, and I might say cheeky buggers over here, because where were they hiding this? I think it was all part of the plan. They're like, you know what, we got this. Let them think that, you know, we're playing dormant. We're going to come out guns blaze, and well, they took the chicken dinner in the very first game of the semifinals, and Thug, that last push that they made, it's like as if, you know, that is what any good player would have done, and that is exactly what they did. Capitalized on that position. My only critique for them would be that, you know, they could have actually spread out a little earlier and covered more ground, but they did it to perfection. And Lord Fam, again, wonderful effort, and the MVP is on our screens right now. VR1 Deuce. Now he has 4 kills, he has 275 points of damage. That may not seem a lot, but he definitely has a good arm as he lobbed those grenades to perfection.
Yeah, I mean, like, he did a great job for his team, trying to, you know, the survival. Like, we need to balance out between both the kills, the aggression, and the survival capabilities of that player. He took his team to the top 3. I think they got eliminated the 3rd spot, unless Sensei. Yeah, I think they got eliminated 3rd spot because Sensei was spotted by VR1, which in turn got spotted by Insane. That was the, you know, the chronology of the entire sequence. And yes, here we have the top 5 players. Deuce definitely leading the charge. We have Lord coming with those 3 kills as well. Finally, we have Manav with those 3 kills, Shockwave with 3 kills as well with 400 damage, and Puali with those 3 kills. Insane raking in some good amount of kills towards the end.
He did, in fact, and of course, he, you know, the whole team, Shockwave included, they have been actually making shockwaves, I do believe, since day 4, and of course through the seeding process as well, which is, again, it's good to see these boys, because we were always criticizing them. You know, where is Team Insane? Why haven't they shown up for this tournament? And well, they've honored the naysayers, and they've shown up in full force, and they won the first chicken dinner, so kudos to them. However, are starting off high, but that kind of, you know, paints an extra target on your back. That's what I always believe. You know, if you ever climb to the top, someone always wants to pull you down, and well, someone's going to try that, and I think I'm going to be lagging a bit. I am robotic.
Yeah, I mean, like, you are a little bit robotic, but by the time you fix that, we have the standings in front of us. We have Team Insane leading the charge with 9 kills, 29 points, and we have Lord Fam with 22 points as well. Decent amount of kills coming in the name of Insane Fam, VR1 and Mayhem, 9855. Teams below that, Optimum did try their best to fight it out until the very end, but eventually went down. But let's talking about knock officials, the only team we have towards the end, 5 kills.
Yeah, but those 5 kills were taken in style, and they were playing aggressive. They got those knocks, and they were like out for blood. And you know, I think that aggression is definitely going to help them out. They've got to kind of pick and choose their battles, because getting eliminated early on is going to be an issue. But all in all, I think they did put up a good show. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm not hazy anymore. I am good. What's up? Anyway, so you know what I love saying? Technical difficulties. But anyway, that was a brilliant game, and I can't wait to see what these boys are going to bring to the table next. Now, they have to carry that momentum forward. The question is, can they do that?
Yes, I mean, like, it's all about consistency. If you're looking at that way, that teams need to ensure that they are consistent enough. But right now, it's still the semi-finals, and we might get to see another points reset once we move into the finals. So it's all about ensuring that you are in the safe heavens, and irrespective of the position that you end up with, unless you make it to the finals. Talking about Team Insane, up till now, they have been able to perform really well. I guess they have 9 kills, yes, 9 kills, and some pretty good stats.
And Insane ID Prince, I think he was kind of instrumental. He might not have a lot of kills, but that damage was definitely coming in handy. And I like the fact that he was actually, split up from his team, not as a flanker per se, but as an extra set of eyes, and of course an extra angle for fire if need be. So he was kind of really instrumental in giving them information. And I wonder what they're going to do next, because I do believe we are going to be traveling to the jungles of Sanhok. And well, it's going to be a sneaky game, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, we have Sanhok, we have Vikendi. I think this variation might also help us to see a variation in the results as well, because this was Erangel. We saw the Team Insane coming up and playing one of the best games, but in Sanhok, unpredictability comes into play. In Vikendi, rotations come into play, and the water part as well. And we have some interesting match summary coming up as well. 47 kills.
I think we might have just lost your audio, or maybe it's my problem again. I do not know. So I might as well just talk, unless you are talking and you can hear me. But yes, this is a nice little match summary over here. The smokes and nades, grenade kills, vehicle kills, airdrop. We like all these stats. I mean, we already know that, okay, there are going to be a lot of kills in the game. But when we see this at the end, it just feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, extremely sorry. I actually had a cough and I had to mute myself. But yes, I think the match summary really helps us to summarize, especially those grenade kills, vehicle kills, which we, while casting, we aren't able to keep too much of a track of. Really helps our cause. And yes, I think a great game and a great start to the semi-finals. Group A versus B, Insane coming up with insane gameplay towards the end. And of course, LF trying to end up as Lords, but failing, missing by a bit.
They did miss by just this much, and I'm pretty sure they're going to go over the reel later on and be like, oh, we almost had it. What went wrong? But it is what it is. Game 1 is done and dusted, and, we should forget about that, because we have a lot more in store for you. And Thug, I think we just might have the next match ready soon.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're going to move on to the next game pretty soon, because we have seen the points table. We know what we got from Game 1. We see the good amount of kills. 5 to 6 of these teams were able to manage, but when it's Sanhok, it's more about the blood path, the bloodshed, and the unpredictability of the game as a whole. And I think that's what I'm more excited about. But XP, which team stood out for you apart from Insane? Obviously, which team stood out for you from the 14 teams that played it out on Game 1?
Okay, apart from Insane, apart from Lord Fam, who were good position-wise, they were good. They were playing intelligent. I love the fact the way they were split up, the way Kiru was making sure he has that rich covered. That kind of impressed me. And Nox officials' aggressiveness kind of impressed me, because I didn't really see that over the last 4 or 5 days, but they have big guns, and finally they are putting them to use. So it's going to be just exciting. And again, if they continue with that aggressive and momentum forward, I think they might be one of the top contenders for the coming games.
Yes, definitely. I believe that we might get to see them perform consistently. But we're gonna move towards a quick break, and we'll be right back for more action.
Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Club Open Fall Split 2020 Indian Edition. And of course, this is day one of the semi-finals, so a lot of action is in store for you all. My name is, of course, Angad Singh Chahal. I go by The Experiment, and with me is Animesh 8-Bit Thug Agarwal. Thug, game one, done and dusted. Team Insane coming out with a big W. Are they going to do the same in game two?
I mean, like, the way they have played and the experience that they carry, they might be able to pull off any kind of results. And they might be a complete surprise to us here on, because they got that push that they needed, that one chicken dinner that might be able to, sort things up for them. And right now, if we see, we have Sanhok coming up next, which we have already discussed. Sanhok, and we have Group A and B going for all the remainder of the games today. So we might, it's very difficult to predict Sanhok, but generally what I've seen is that teams which are placed centrally, which take a drop centrally, they are generally more likely to win.
Absolutely, because it is a smaller map. You don't have to cover a lot of distance. And I was just going to say that, you might have seen anything. But in the end, Sanhok, chaos reigns supreme. And that is what we see, because you might be picking a fight with the team in this direction and boom, you get shot in the head from behind. So, I want to see some action. And all you third-partying action fans, stay tuned, because this map is for you.
Right, and talking about the map, we have the game kicking off. We have the flight path in front of us, going from Cow to Docks, and a pretty balanced flight path. In Sanhok, anyways, the map is too small for the map to create any difference. The way this team spread out, and let's see how the teams take a drop, and do we get to see a drop fight in bootcamp.
Well, we're going to see if a fight breaks out in boot camp. With the plane path is pretty much in front of you. We're going to be heading down south, a bit inclined towards the eastern aspect of the map. But again, like we said, it's a small map, and all these places are going to be in dropping distance. The question now is, where is everyone going to go? And as far as boot camp goes, I thought the AZTECS might put up a fight against LegStump, but they are heading for the ruins. So again, everyone is kind of spreading out, but have a look at Optimum Esports and VR1 Esports right up north at Dartmoor. So we might actually see first blood over there.
Yes, and the zone is pretty interesting one. I think it's a very interesting circle. A lot of part in Sanhok. The water is playing a huge part in the circle. I believe around 40% of the zone is around the water part. So if the zone decides to shift towards the western or the northern part, then we might see water coming into play towards the later half. But right now we have a situation between Optimum and VR1, and we might get to see some early casualties, like you mentioned.
Yes, sir. And well, this fight is taking place right up north. It's north of Dartmoor, in fact. We are in Cow right now, so that is where the fight is taking place. Now, VR1 Esports, again, a very versatile group of players. Of course, we know Razor, MCYS, Critic, 07, and Bash. We've seen them do some phenomenal things in the past, and the question is, are they going to be able to do the same again? But Bash over here, he goes in, and Bunk, probably one of the biggest stars from VR1, is going to be the first to draw first blood. He gets one knock. Rage gets taken down instead by Critic 07, who did take some damage, but he is still going to be fighting on. And that grenade is being carefully lobbed by Razor, of course, listening for all the sound cues. Ace might be good. The grenade comes in. That is going to bounce off perfectly. And with that, Bunk is going to be down on his knees, which gives them a push. And Razor goes in, making sure he gets the confirmed kills. And, well, Bash, I think, did he go down earlier? Wait a second, something is amiss. Oh, Bash was still knocked out, but are they going to pick him up? I think they'll do it with ease, as Critic is going to finish off Bunk as well. Now, Skeleton and Deuce, they might have to back off and live to fight another day.
Yeah, I mean, like, Optimum did survive a scare. They did have Bash trying to getting knocked off, but he eventually got filled up, and VR1 put back off. So not an early elimination scare, but then obviously two casualties in the name of VR1, and this could definitely deter their hopes to get some good ranking and kills in this game. But looking at the way, there are just 14 teams in lobby, so definitely it's a very lightly dense map. Every team got a good share of a compound. They're able to get those loot, slow rotations, easy rotations. I think that since the teams are less in number, that is also a big reason why we are getting to see more fight towards the end, and not much of early clashes unless it's a drop fight. We do have RG.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
14 teams, of course, is going to make a difference. You have more options open to you. You can head in this direction, in that direction, yada, yada, yada. But again, I think we've kind of come down to the third and the fourth circle, right? That's when the maximum skirmishes take place, because the zone forces all the people to move in closer to one another, as Damon and the boys from STALWART Esports are moving in closer towards Reckoning. The question is, does Reckoning know they're coming? Yes, they do, as Taz, lays down some lead in Damon's position. And, well, we have a fight between Reckoning and STALWART Esports.
Right, and RG versus STALWART, two of the big names, seemingly big names. And RG, I think RG does know, yes, obviously they do know that STALWART is in front of them, but Sarang is at a spot where he might just take any player of RG by surprise. And I don't know if Tez really knows about him, but I feel that's NY Dominator picking off insane IT Prince and wiping off instantly. We got to see some real nice M466 spray.
Yes, sir, and the defending champions, if I like to call them, the guys who won the first game, they are under fire, and IT Prince, who was instrumental in the success in Game 1, is the first one to go down for their team. Now, this is definitely going to be a major boost for Nalayk, who, in fact, if I'm not wrong, were the first team to be eliminated in Game 1. So for them to take on the current leaders, if I may say, and the guys who are probably in the most form and have momentum rolling in their favor, that is definitely going to be something that's going to boost their morale and confidence.
Yes, and looking at the way RG is trying to make moves here, I think RG should just, if the ST wants to disengage, then I think RG should choose that option as well, because it's too early in the game to engage in a fight, especially when RG was not able to get those good points in the last game. So RG should definitely try to maintain that consistency, but we have Taz trying to move in, and like I said, Sarang could take Taz by surprise unless Taz has a cognizance of where Sarang is. Also, the ST players are too split. If Sarang gets spotted, he's definitely going down.
I mean, forget the two split. They just backed off completely, because that's easily about, 300, maybe 400 meters away. I think it should be at least 350 meters out. Now, again, the problem is, Sarang is in a little bit of a tough situation. Now, the question is he going to pick a fight? Because I think Taz is kind of has a hunch that, someone is nearby. Meanwhile, elsewhere, FINTOX's hunt is going to get a knock on AZTECS Satan. But I'm excited to see what's happening over here. Look at the way Taz is jumping around now. He's got on top of the rock. He wants to make sure the coast is cleared before he makes his move. However, I think he might assume that the coast is clear. He might jump forward, and Sarang might pay for it. But nope, I am mistaken, as Taz does the smart thing and retreats back to his team.
Right, and looking at the way STALWART is holding ground, I mean, like, Sarang has been too patient, but he does not have an option. He does not have much loot on him. I think, if I'm not wrong, he has a level 1 vest and a level 1 helmet. He does have an AKM, but that's not really gonna be sufficient when you're going against Taz. But I see FINTOX going down, one of the players from FINTOX. I think that was explicit, missing on that kill. Okay, explicit was down, but he gets revived. A situation between AZTECS and FINTOX. FINTOX too haven't been able to capitalize on so much of their metal, but right now Ryu takes down Frost, and also we have like multiple fights going on towards the screen.
Now, Mighty is trying to make his escape. He's trying to go underwater, under the radar, so to speak. I think he might be the last man standing. And I think we have a team elimination almost. No, I was wrong. Nalayk, if I'm not mistaken, are down to one man. I think Ninja was the last guy remaining. We might just see an early squad elimination coming our way, as Ryu is trying to make sure he spots an enemy in the water. Ooh, I saw some damage points on some damage markers on the screen. I think that is just Aztec Mighty taking some damage from drowning. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're in the water too long and you run out of breath, please surface in real life. Don't do this at home. Now, he's going to get up, pop up some air, and make sure he swims away to safety. But again, a massive blow to the Aztecs, and that might actually come to haunt them later on.
Yeah, I mean, like, losing a player early in game, this definitely changes. That's why I'm saying, I mean, like, teams should realize is that there are only 14 squads. You are not in a 20-team lobby. You don't really need to engage so early. You can just hang on around till the fourth circle, I guess, fourth or fifth circle. You will have enough space until that time as well to fight it out. I mean, like, teams trying to take those hot drops, taking those chances, it does not really make sense in a 14-team lobby XP. Teams should understand that you can easily disengage. I mean, like, there's no harm, there's no test of ego if you're disengaging from a situation.
Of course, ego is a big thing that is part of, well, any person actually.
Yeah.
It's a part of any person, but you got to keep that in check. Yes, it's not about ego, but in my opinion, if you are in a dire situation that you are actually getting being on, you have an onslaught of enemies on your position. Yes, then you need to back off and pick a fight with one first if you're not confident enough in fortifying your position and defending it to the last man. But again, I do believe that if you get those early engagements, if you actually secure a victory, even at the loss of say a man or two, it's a big confidence boost, and that is something you got to start strong, because psychologically we've discussed this earlier that there's a big psychological aspect to gaming, and psychologically if you're defeated initially, you kind of have a bad day, but if you have an early win, you get that confidence. You're like, you know what, we can do this. So I think it's two sides of the same coin. If it's working for you, I guess it's working for you.
Yeah, I mean, like, every decision obviously has two results. So, we when a team fails, then we are obviously there to criticize them and criticize their
Ooh.
moves. But if they're successful in their decision making, yes,
Have a look at how Team MYM and Nox Vision are coming in,
right.
Thug. By water, and they're going to be hitting no opposition as they make their way in.
Yeah, I mean, like the way this teams are rotating, I mean, like they don't need to take this many chances. It's just a 14-team lobby. I mean, like, why don't the teams understand this? They won't find too much of a problem. Rather, it's gonna make their things easier if a team. But that's some good gunpower coming from AZTECS. Mighty trying to take down FINTOX Royal down. We do have explicit hunt and view standing on, but I think the player was too off guard. I mean, like Royal should have been more cautious about any team trying to move in. View coming up with some nades does provide give some damage to Dark Lord. Dark Lord coming up with some counter nades. Might just want to go to cover and take heal.
And that is exactly what he did. Ryu, in fact, did take some damage. Now Satan is trying to lob a grenade off his own. I do see his arm extended. And is that going to be a bit too much? I think Explicit is going to get caught in the crossfire. No, he isn't. Yet another grenade by Dark Lord. And he still has a Molotov in hand. So now this is a little bit of a war of the throwables going on over here. It looks like FINTOX's Ryu is the only one standing in their path. But that is, of course, exciting. But FINTOX's Hunt and Explicit are doing a smart thing. They're not overextending. They're going to make sure that they hold that compound, which is actually going to help them out later on, since we're still in that zone. And chances are the next circle might actually shift a little bit towards the northwestern island. So that is definitely going to be very handy for these lads. And I don't know, I think the smoke grenades are being deployed, and we might see Ryu exiting and retreating to his haven with his team.
Right, and here we have FINTOX now in a tight spot. I guess they need to escape this spot, or their time would not be, very soon they would be surrounded and might get into a sandwich situation. Right now they do have an advantage over AZTECS. They might just want to pick off some players from AZTECS. We have AZTECS, Mighty Satan, Dark Lord surviving. FINTOX might just want to disengage, but then they have a very good spot inside the circle. They would want to ensure that the stronghold stays. FINTOX trying to pick up AZTECS Mighty. I do see FINTOX getting us. Ryu was able to spot Mighty, but then I think FINTOX decided to back off and let both the teams hold positions equally.
That is actually a good spot, but I think a lot of action is going to take place on the main island, just a little west of Paradise Resort, on that little compound, on that compound high up on the cliffs, right next to the water, as you head over towards the bridge, towards Heart Inn. Over there, Thug, we have 1, 2, 3, almost 4 teams in contention, as I do believe Reckoning are going to take on LegStump, and Team Insane are in the picture as well. And joining Reckoning, I do believe Optimum Esports are coming in as well. So this is going to be exciting. Just have a look at the pandemonium that's about to ensue at the drop spot right now, where the current airdrop is. Let's zoom in over there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like the way the drop is there, I mean, like obviously a team might just go and take it. But this circle XP, I think we are gonna witness a very different Sanhok. Because I have casted so many games, I haven't seen a circle moving towards something so different. And if the zone is split between what situation do we have? We have north.
That's
yeah.
I was just going to say that they are all by themselves. We'll come to that in a second because Reckoning are picking a fight with VR1 Esports, the last two remaining members of VR1 Esports, Skeleton and Deuce. Now, Skeleton is down, but he should be picked up by his teammate without an issue. That's what I was telling you. Nox Official are just chilling. They are sunbathing out in the sea, and that is a good place. I would love to be in a good place. They have a boat. They have a jet ski with them. They're like, you know what? We're in Paradise City. We are on a paradise island. Why not make the best of it? And if King Ankit does an emote right now, I'm going to lose it. But they seem to be having a good time.
Yeah, but the circle might just be contradictory too. I mean, like, Nox is betting on the fact that the circle might end up towards the north. And if it does, Nox, I don't know, would they be in trouble? Because teams would flock to the coast and...
All right.
Okay,
It'll work.
It will work. And I believe that we are moving towards a very exciting end circle. We still have the situation between RG and VR1. Let's see.
Now, let's see who's going to come on top, because this fight is actually taking, it's taken quite some time, and Clowny now has reinforcements coming in, and VR1 have some other troubles, because on the other side of the water is Futurestation. Now, Futurestation, again, they might have been holding back their punches, Thug. They might just come out super strong today. We're going to have to wait and find out, but AZTECS on the other side are lighting up STALWART Esports, and VR1 Deuce is going to find his death over there, and he's going to meet his maker with VR1 being the first team to be eliminated. Like I said, Futurestation were in a wonderful position to, come and get the job done. But again, it is what it is, down to the last 13 teams. A lot of people have already succumbed to their injury so far. And over, that was a beautiful spray by Optimum Esports Razor as he knocks down Reckoning's Exotic. I'm sorry, I just had a little something in my mouth. Why don't you just take over for a quick second?
Yeah, I mean, like, looking at the way RG is trying to move in, they look so confident, but their confidence has been straight up stopped. Their confident move has been straight up blocked by Optimum. Optimum trying to move in, 4-man squad having the height advantage, pushing in on RG. Test sitting right there patiently, no movement from his end, but he finally moves and he's definitely spotted. Two players trying to take shots on him and Test goes down. RG is going down. Definitely Exotic is the next man that would be confirmed by the charging army from Optimum, the 4-man squad trying to move in, making their way up, and they already have 6 kills to their name. That's pretty impressive looking the way they are performing. They look so confident right now, and we might get to see an entirely different result from Optimum this game. Bash, Critic, MCYS and Razor moving up. The circle still in splits between the water and the land part, and I mean, like, teams might find themselves in a tough
Have a look
spot.
at Nox Official. They're still chilling.
Yeah, they're still chilling. I think they're doing a good job, but it's a good job and only to get those position points. If they want to go for the skills, it's definitely not helping them. And LS is on their knees once again, down to their knees once again.
Yes, sir. You did mention Optimum Esports earlier on. They're like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the way they're running through the opponents in their game. But they are going to find themselves in trouble as Team MYM's Cloak is going to get a kill on one of their members. I think MCYS OP has gone down elsewhere. Shockwave is picking a fight with Optimum. They're trying to get some revenge. But now Joker and Bhishma from LegStump, they can actually get picked up because smokes have been deployed. And it looks like the enemies in the form of Lord Fam are backing away. So now is the time for this team to become whole once again. Now, the reason why Lord Fam did this is because the zone is coming in, so Syringe and the boys need to act quick. They need to go out for the revives right now because the blue zone is not going to be too kind to anyone who's left behind.
Right, and looking at the way Syringe, Macman, Joker, WSS, the 4 players are moving in. They somehow managed to revive one of their players, but I'm not really sure if Bhishma would be able to revive, but I think Bhishma might get revived as well. And yes, the 4-man squad moving in. But interestingly, XP, we have up 50 around Nox, and who would have thought? I mean, like, up 50 is also using a great stat, but I don't understand why would these teams drop down in water, because they know it's very difficult to get those skills rolling in.
Well, I mean, we were just talking about the fact that Nox Official won't have enough kills, but looks like they are being handed them on a platter as we have some naval warfare this time, but the zone is going to force them to come in, and by the looks of it, UP50 does not have any boats. So, again, Nox Official are in an advantageous position. Elsewhere, Syringe and the boys from LegStump are trying to rain down some death in Lord Fam's direction. Ooh, grenades popping off everywhere. The house is literally on fire, and like a madman. Syringe is running through all those explosions, and in fact, Madman does get taken down by Lord Fam, and they are a member down as well. But the way Lord Fam are defending their property is just commendable. But now Bhishma and Syringe are two men up against a two-man Lord Fam, and this grenade, if it's lobbed to perfection, it can be beautiful, and Syringe just might move in for the kill, but he decided no, he's going to go for the revive as Joker is going to get picked up. That means Bhishma has now all the time in the world to unleash that inner warrior and go in for the assault. The question is he going to come out on top?
Right, and looking at the way Bhishma and LS tried to defend, I think they did a great job, but Bhishma might just get spotted, and that was a very sneaky move coming in from, very cheeky move coming in from Mamba. And you know, all the Mambas that I know, they are so cheeky, they are so sneaky, the way they get things done. And yes, a wipeout coming from Syringe stepping up for his team. I mean, like, XP LS are a good set. What they're lacking right now is trust and confidence among the teammates. I see LS making a lot of playing for changes throughout the tournament, which I think is detrimental to the interest of the team. Bhishma as a leader needs to trust his instincts, step up and trust 3 of the 5 other options that he has, and needs to stick with them throughout a week or so. Needs to give the team a time. It's a newly formed team. Meanwhile, Optimum getting wiped out.
Not a bad number of kills. In 11th position with 7 kills to the name. Of course, you were talking about them, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Well, they have gone down to meet their lord once again. Elsewhere, AZTECS Satan is going to be laying down some lead in STALWART Esports direction. But now Team Insane, they were picking a fight with MYM, but it looks like MYM are also engaged with FINTOX. Meanwhile, AZTECS Satan is going to be laying down some lead in Robin's position. But Robin is going to get a knock on his teammate Mighty, and Mighty, in fact, is wiped out from this game as well. I like the way AZTECS is sneaking up along the beach. He wants to get in behind them, and I think he's going to spot Robin over here. He aims, he shoots, he connects. Down goes Robin as Satan, the Dark Lord himself, is going to make his way towards the new zone. He has to... He's pretty much made it. If he makes it up this hill, he's going to have to be content with dealing with MYM. But you know what? AZTECS just might still be in this game, Thug.
Yeah, I mean, like, AZTECS somehow rushed inside the circle, and we know Sanhok in Sanhok staging circles are easy. But I would want to see how Up 50, UP50 and these other teams fare. They did a smart move to get inside the water, but the next circle would decide everything. Right now, AZTECS does look in a lot, I'm not really sure if they will be able to make it inside the circle. AZTECS Darklord trying to fight, I don't think he's moving in. He's just has one first aid kit, and that would be GG, well played for AZTECS. However, MYM trying to push in. They still have another breather, and by the looks of it, the circle might have just extended more towards the water.
It could have actually, and AZTECS CSP, a valiant effort by them, but they have finally been eliminated in the 10th position, and MYM did a wonderful job gatekeeping them. And what is this? So many teams are going out for a swim. Gentlemen, this is a battle royale. We are not on vacation, because that is what happens. You get knocked out. Cloak over there getting exposed on his right flank as Addy from UP50 is going to come and take him down, but he gets taken down instead. Immortal punishing him for knocking down his teammate. But I like the fact that Damon, he's out in the open. FINTOX are still out in the water. I'm pretty sure they're aware of each other's positions, but boy, oh boy, this actually has the making for a funny ending. And if the next zone actually moves out further into the water, well, they're going to have all the advantage. But I like the fact that Nox official, they are still far out at sea, but now they have been forced to come in closer, to come in on all the action.
Right, and looking at the way MYM is right now played, they might have this good opportunity to pick up a lot of kills. I believe that, you know, these players might just get a chance to get in those kills, but I'm not sure if they will be able to make it up position-wise. And looking at the way Manav and Immortal and others are moving in, Puwali is putting up some good space to pick this player off, and Tegor does a great job picking Manav off.
That was actually a good job over here, but now they still have the work cut out for them as Clowny and his teammate are going to go up against them. But now MYM, they are going to get caught out as Manav's game is done for. Sensei is going to bow out as well. That means Cloak, he was actually heading to Sensei's position, but he realized that, you know what, suddenly his teammate got spotted out, so he's going to have to pick a fight with Clowny. And I do believe Immortal is going to be their last hope. If Immortal can make it to the other side of that dock, then he has a chance to actually get his team some placement points, but Reckoning are going to be in the way, and Flo gets spotted out. In fact, he gets taken down with the play zone. Elsewhere, Stalwart Esports are going to be knocked out in the 9th position, followed quickly by team LegStump, who go out in 8th with 3 kills to their name. That means we are down to the last 7 teams, 17 players alive, and some of the favorites are still alive and kicking. Team Insane, still a 3-man squad. Futurestation still a 4-man squad. Now, Bopdope, Somraj, Pokar, and Frag OP, can they pull off the impossible? Can they actually get victory over here in this bloodied Sanhok map?
Right, and we have right now FS and Insane once again making it to the last circle. Nox did try to play it smart, but the smartest did not really help their cause, and they are now struggling to move inside the circle. This is what I was talking about. I mean, like, the position that they took, it could have only gotten them placement points. There's no way they would have been able to manage those kills, because you cannot shoot from the water, and it's a known fact. Right now, UP50 somehow did try to take a lot of advantage because they made it into the circle 3-man squad trial, so I don't think that could be a lot of problem. But look at this Spray God doing a 1v2 against Reckoning, and Insane is looking so strong right now. We have Puwali, not Spray God, trying to pick up players. Picks one off, picks two, and finally gets picked off. Finally gets picked off by, I think that's FS. And
it was Spray God. Wasn't it Spray God?
No,
Oh, that's the kill feed is a little slower.
That was FS. FS
right.
The player from Nox. And right now we are down to 3 teams. Insane and Futurestation obviously has the higher probability. Futurestation with those 4-man squad might prove to be a problem for Insane. Let's see. Insane has the height advantage. Is Insane able to convert this one as well? If they get this chicken dinner, if they get a second chicken dinner, this would put them so high up in the points table.
It definitely will. FS Armor is in a wonderful position to get them off guard, and he does. He just is survived by 1 HP, but he turns around and in a miraculous last bullet spray gets Team Insane. In fact, Frag OP came in to help his teammate, and Team Insane, who would again on a warpath find themselves eliminated from this game. That means we are down to a 4v1 situation, and Futurestation take about 12, make that 13 kills. With that, UP50 getting eliminated in the second position. The winner chicken dinner is going to go to Futurestation. And let me just say one thing, Thug. I was telling you, these boys have been, they've been keeping things from us, because they have been coming out now guns ablaze, and they completely lit Sanhok on fire, winning that game with an absolute amazing number of kills. And the way they controlled the last circle, brilliant.
I mean, like, Somrat stood out for me. The way he wiped out Insane, the push from Insane was eminent, and it was quite difficult to stop, but the 2 kills that he managed for his team, he did a great job. Staying prone, having us trying to put your ADS towards a little bit of height, it's not easy, because there is a limit to how much you can move your gun and your crosshair, but he did a great job trying to connect those shots. And we have the MVP, that's Pukar from Futurestation. 5 kills, 491 damage to his name, 23.39 survival time, and 5.32 distance covered. Great stuff, good stuff coming in from Futurestation.
Absolutely. I mean, they absolutely, played the way we expect such a team to play. And this is what happens when the big guns finally do all the talking. And of course, Nox official are going to stand out for me this time again, because, last game we were talking about how they went out all aggressive. This time, complete opposite. They're like, you know what, we're going to chill out in the water right at the north of the zone. And they only came in and they got that 1 kill. They ended, I think, in the 5th position with 3 kills. So not the best outing for them, but again, it was a little bit of hocus pocus. It was a complete U-turn from what we saw in game 1. But on our screens right now, the top 5 players from this game.
Right, and looking at the screen, we have FS all around. We have Frag, OP, and Pukar with those 8 kills amongst them, and then we have Optimum Razer. Optimum did a great job. They did get eliminated quite early, I think at the 11th spot, but they had those 7 kills to their name, pushing them quite high in the points table. Syringe tried his best to hold on, but LS still has a lot to prove, and Insane Spray got what a spray by Insane Spray God to pick up those players.
He lived up to his name. He is the Spray God. And I thought for a second he got that 3rd member as well, but that was, of course, someone else, as you mentioned. But, I like it. I like the fact that all the big names are now, well, they're acting up, and they're finally, stepping up to the plate, as we like saying. But it's going to be exciting, because a lot of the teams that are kind of unknown are making waves as well. And, well, we have the standings after the 2nd game. Well, this is game 2. Futurestation right on top with 33 points.
Right, 33 points to their name, and then we have UP50 with those 17 points as well. However, great stuff coming in from Optimum, like super impressive number of kills. Mayhem balance, they did get caught outside the circle, but they still tried their best to getting those 4 kills. They did try to fight it out, but then Insane came up with a 3rd party from that high. And also talking about the way LS and AZTECS came in, LegStump with those 3 kills and AZTECS with those 4 kills as well. AZTECS does need to push up a lot.
Absolutely. I think, see, everyone over here who is participating, everyone who's made it to the semi-finals, we know that they can aim and shoot. But I guess they need to start working as a team. And even the big teams, we saw a little bit of hesitancy from them. And it is visible, because had it been a classic match, it would have been different. I get it. The stakes are high. There's a little more pressure. Your hands might be a little jittery. But then you've got to have confidence on your own skills. That is something that, we kind of see them, once that hesitation comes in, oh, that's a bad thing, and it can actually lead to a downfall, so to speak. But I guess we're only 2 games down. It is day 1, so they still have a lot of time to improve. And well, let's see if they actually work on their mistakes and make it more exciting for us.
Right, and we can dive into more details about FS and the way they have performed. We have Pukar, Bobdog, Somraj, Frag, OP with those, I guess, 15 kills amongst them, and I think they did a great job. Like a Futurestation finally stepping up. We saw these guys play it out in the PMIS, and even better stuff coming up from them in PMCO.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about. You start off at one stage, then you go on to the next, and the competition gets tougher and tougher as you keep going higher. And if they keep playing the way they're playing, we're going to see them in the Pro League next. And if they can sustain that competition as well, and if they can overcome it, well, sky's the limit, Thug, and the World League might see a new team emerge from India.
Right, and talking about the overall standings, we have Insane definitely leading the charge because of their consistent performances in the past 2 games. 44 points for them, and Futurestation making their way up with 38 points, up 50. Shocker, a surprise, pleasant surprise. Nice to see them hanging around at the 3rd spot with 26 points. Mayhem needs to work around with their stats, or else they might just miss the top 5 spot, because right now they are at the 5th spot, but we know Group C hasn't come into play. So I do expect a lot of them. AZTECS and LegStump, they are at a real tough spot right now. Same for STALWART. These 3 teams, big names, and also reckoning. I mean, like 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, all the 14s, we have seen them perform in the past. They have some players that we have known in the past, but unfortunately they are not able to step up their game.
That is absolutely correct. But again, they did do good in a couple of days in the past, but again, it could be that it's a new tournament. Again, it's that experience factor that comes in, right? Because that is what separates why we are all praised about the big teams, is because we know that they can kind of thrive under pressure. Because mind you, when you are up on a big stage, as a lot of you watching would know, the pressure can be it can mount up. So again, I think that's one hurdle they need to cross, and once that obstacle is dealt with, it's going to be a lot easier. So give them time. I think a couple of days we'll get to know where all the teams actually stand.
Right. I think let's wait for those couple of days, because we still have like 10 to 8 to 10 more days of gaming left for this PMCO before we finally get to know which teams eventually make it to the PMPL. So I guess it's day 1, first 2 games, and like you said, let's be a little easy on these boys, because we know they have a lot of experience in them, and it's like we always say, it's easier said than done. So we never really know what actually goes into those efforts, and also it's the same thing, we try to actually pass the message to our audience. You don't know what goes into those 4 players actually having that device.
Actually, you and I both can actually kind of, attest to that, because you've been on a big stage, I've been on a big stage, and trust me, the first time you go out and it's just that pressure of playing, you played that game 100 times, you put in 1,000 hours, but when there's something on stake, when there's something on the line, oh, this starts happening. That little shake, once it comes in, it can either make you or break you. But again, halfway done with day 1. 2 more maps still heading our way, and you all better stay tuned, because we have a lot of action in store for you.
Yes, stay tuned guys, because we gonna be back after a quick short break.
Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Club Open Fall Split 2020 India edition. My name is, of course, Angad Singh Chehal. I go by the Experiment, and with me is a man, I think you might recognize him. It's Animesh 8-Bit Thug Agarwal. We are halfway done with the first days of the semi-finals, and Thug, action has lived up to the hype, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Action has definitely lived up to the hype. Teams are living up to their big names that they have, the big fan base, the big fandom that they carry, the big legacy that they have to prove. And I believe that this is what we all signed up for and the audience tuned in for. I'm super excited for Vikendi because we saw a cracker of a Sanhok game, and Vikendi, the snow-capped mountains, would add to a certain delight.
Absolutely. Not only are you going to have a picturesque scenery around you, it is a beautiful map after all. And I would want to be in that setting. You know, you have a defunct rocket station at one side, the Cosmodrome, then you have beautiful mountains, and amidst all that, people trying to kill each other. It sounds amazing, but that is exactly what we're going to see on our screens shortly. But Vikendi, again, it's a map that isn't really popular with a lot of the players, especially in India, you know, Erangel being the crowd favorite. And now Miramar kind of emerging as a technical map. But I think Vikendi has a lot to offer, both in terms of firepower and tactical prowess. But on our screens right now, we have a head-to-head between Futurestation and Team Insane.
Right, and looking at the head-to-head stats, pretty close, but Team Insane getting better numbers in the damage section. Distance level Futurestation going for those long flanks, and this could be a talking point for the remainder of the PMCO, where we might get to see Futurestation going for those long rotations. But obviously, talking about the small rotations from Insane definitely gives a hint about the accuracy of the IGL calls, because the rotations are generally dependent upon the IGL, and definitely it gives us a clearer picture of the accurate calls that the IGL is making, and how well the IGL is well versed with the ridges and the rotation that he needs to do with each map.
You know, you're absolutely right. Now, that is, of course, they've got good rotations. A lot of distance was considerably less as compared to Futurestation. But one thing I did notice was a lot higher was the damage that they healed themselves up with. Now, it was almost double, which means that they were actually in the thick and thin of all the action, which again, you know, is two sides of the same coin. You stay in the middle. Yes, you do have an advantage as far as rotations go, but you have a lot of enemy eyes watching you and every move you make. So you've got to be quick on your feet and, you know, really sharp to counter any action. So I think it's a give and take, right? And if you can balance it out, well, that's what winners are made of.
Yeah, obviously, if you're holding the center, you're risking your position in the game, because a lot of teams definitely want to chase that center, which remains the apple of eye for every player. Every team wants to have the best spot in the map, which comes in the form of the center circle, which I see Insane generally doing. Also, Insane tends to be more on the aggressive side. They want to go for those skills. They want to go for those, compound barges, where they just barge in inside a compound, go for those skills. So I believe this could also be a reason. When you, like you said, two sides of the same coin. When you are aggressive, you get like you need to take those the hit as well, and that is where that healing numbers are coming in from.
You know, it's one of those laws of motion and all that, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Now the thing is, you've got to kind of defy that somehow. You've got to be able to strike and not take anything in return. That is what the good teams do. And you know, I think in my opinion, I do believe that the teams are actually showing their true colors right now, because they are coming out guns blaze, and we've seen a couple of amazing rotations by a few teams, especially, you know, as single men or two-man squads, when they have to, you know, circumnavigate all the enemies in front of them. So I kind of like it. I kind of like where their heads at, which means Vikendi is actually going to be exciting, because, like we said, it is a big map, but a lot of compounds for the taking, and the loot, in my opinion, is pretty good all around.
Yeah, I mean, like the way it has, the map comes up. I believe that the most important thing about Vikendi, in my opinion, is getting those vehicles in. What I've felt over the last couple of months, that Vikendi has been nerfed, especially the vehicles. Earlier we used to see a lot of snowmobiles, a lot of those small vehicles available, but right now I see a lot of teams who have to resort to more than resort to just one vehicle, and this is what makes rotations in Vikendi very difficult. However, the good part about Vikendi is that unless you see the water playing its role, is the circles are generally very concentric. Until the fourth circle, you don't really need to worry much about your rotations if you are not taking drops at the extreme edges.
Absolutely, but that is what Vikendi is kind of known for, right? The haphazard circles, and against well, everybody's expectations. The first circle usually 9 out of 10 times always forms with about 40 to 50% of it lying in the water. So that is something exciting because, it forces the teams to come in close proximity to one another early on, which means we get to see some early bloodshed. And talking about early bloodshed, well, the plane is finally above the island of Vikendi. And if you just have a look at your windows out of your left and right, it's going to be kind of hazy, so we're going to expect a little bit of drop as far as your vision and accuracy goes. Of course, that is in a perfect world that would make sense, but in this game, all these teams are going to be out there making sure they get those long range engagements. But the plane path is kind of biased towards the east, flying down from the northwest to the southeast over the port all the way through to the hot springs and Cantra. Now, Kag, I know that you don't like playing Vikendi a lot, and you really haven't played a lot, but I think I'm in the same boat. If I have a look at all the places, I want to go to one place, and that is Dino Park. And do you know why?
Why? Okay.
Because I don't know if you noticed this, but I have a guest with me. I'm going to show it the next time the camera's on. I have Mr. Rex with me, and he lives in Dino Park, but the circle, unfortunately, is going to form away, and I am kind of hurt.
Yeah, the circle is away from Dino Park and also from my favorite spot, that's the winery, for obvious reasons. And obviously, we have IT Prince, Spray God, even in front of our eyes, and they are again in a tight spot where might get to see them going against FINTOX and Insane. Looking at the way they have dropped, I think they might get a chance to just back off, and it could be absolutely fine.
Well, that is exactly what can happen. But of course, we saw Insane pick a fight early on in the last game as well, where they did lose one member. So I'm pretty sure they don't want to do the same. And FINTOX, on the other hand, well, wait a second. That is super confusing. So Optimum MCYS is still falling down. And we are one bunk. It could be AFK. That is a possibility. This is, of course, at the end of the plane path. But it's just amusing. You don't expect to see that at this point of time, unless they've introduced gliders to Vikendi, and that's something we don't know about, Thug.
No, obviously that's not the case here. But then, looking at the way this team's, the way Optimum is approaching this game, they have been pretty good with the number of kills that they're getting. Their approach has been good, and in fact, I'm not doubting their rotations as well. It's just that they've been a little bit unlucky, caught in somewhat wrong fights. But overall, I believe Optimum is a team that we could look out for in days to come, because when it comes to gunfight, they are showing some good strength, some good gun skill, and some good show that they are putting up. Right now, we have Insane as well, and FINTOX has somewhat backed off. They did take a vehicle. I don't know how it's gonna harm the interests of Insane, because like I said, we discussed it. The number of vehicles available on Vikendi have been nerfed, and this actually makes it difficult for teams to go for those rotations, as one vehicle is not enough to rotate in Vikendi, given the length and distance that you have to cover when you're going for those rotations.
True that, and I'm actually kind of surprised that once the map actually comes up, that no team has gone to Mount Kresnich. Now, I know that you don't have a lot of buildings, but in my opinion, the loot up there is pretty supreme, and it can easily, get out at least a couple of members up to even level 3 armor. So that is kind of not confusing, but it's kind of surprising. I want to see some action on that mountain. But Team Insane now, there we have the map, and it looks like, just as I say, that LegStump might be heading in that direction, or they might just bypass it and head out to the coal mine. But I do think Bhishma is going to do a little bit of a U-turn. They might pick up another vehicle, or they might just head over to Port Worcester. So again, we have fewer teams, right, Thug? We've got 14 teams playing every single game. That means a lot of compounds, a lot of locations, a lot of towns and cities are up for grabs, and that is exactly what we're seeing right now. Everyone's spread out, which means action is only going to be probably a stable point during the 4th or 5th circle.
Yes, I mean, let's talk about the way the lobby has been. It's just 14 teams, and Vikendi, we have always seen that it's early clash on, and generally then we see. But let me just take a moment to appreciate the spray that Saran came up with. That was some really good skill set that we got to see, and he picked up one, confirm one immediately. FINTOX must have been a little bit irritated and annoyed by that pick off.
Definitely, and this is actually happening in the zone as well, towards the western aspect. This is just west of the coal mine, east of Krichas, right in the open. So that is again another thing that we see in Vikendi a lot. As people are traversing, as people are migrating to the new zones, that is when they get caught off, because I guess that having a white backdrop all around you can be a little confusing, and it's a little difficult spotting people in the distance, especially if it's a over cloudy, hazy day as it is in this game. But again, practice makes perfect, right? And repetition is what leads to success. So the more you play, the more you know the land better, the more you know every single nook and cranny, and that is what can actually be an advantage. And FINTOX Hunt is going to be assisting his teammate earlier, and well, he gets a knock on Sarung. Down goes Sarung, and looks like STALWART Esports might be at the receiving end of things now.
Yes, and let's see how STALWART fares, because Sarang definitely went down, and I think Sarang makes one of the most important part of the aggressive assault powered at STS. We have seen this guy stand up for his team whenever he's been called upon to do so, but unfortunately he's the same guy who goes down early on for STALWART. And while we were talking, Robin went down as well, and FINTOX coming up with a pretty good retaliation and putting STALWART at back foot and stopping their push straight up.
Now, this is something unprecedented in Vikendi as well. We've seen a lot of compounds being assaulted, and people trying to breach the compound and try to have a little fight in a little bit of an urban setting with all those houses. But this is the opposite, and I love the way Ryu and Royal are moving out. Ryu is going on a right massive flank. He's got a long-range weapon, and with that, he's going to confirm Sarung. Robin is going to be in a world of trouble as well, because they did have those smoke grenades kind of blocking their vision early on, but I love that rotation, and he is putting it to full use. However, I think he might just need to get a little bit closer. Elsewhere, Royal just threw a Molotov in that direction, which actually would have hit the enemy as well. So wonderful advance by the two gentlemen over here, and Hunt is going to make sure he stays back and relays any information that he can. Right now, FINTOX are playing like a well-oiled machine.
Right, and the way FINTOX are looking in sync, I believe that these boys might have a good chance in this game. Although they are not exactly around the center of the circle, but then if they make the move at the right time, they should not have face any problem to hit somewhere on Mount Kresnik, which seemingly to me should be a safe spot to hold if you do not want to make too much of movements and do not have too many vehicles. But right now, from what I see, FS is moving around with 3 vehicles and AZTECS with 2. Talking about MYM XP, we did see MYM coming up with some good games last night, but today we have got to see a very different MYM side. What do you think are they missing today?
I've kind of seen this with Team MYM in every single tournament they've played. So they have a pattern. They kind of start off slow. It's like they're not. I can't say they're not confident, because we know that they have been winners in the past. They won the PMIT, and they've been doing very good. Of course, they have a wonderful team as well. But the thing is, Thug, I believe that they start off slow and they kind of pump themselves up as they go along. They kind of like that pressure, when they're mid-table and you only have a few games left. That is when I've seen Team MYM or Team Mayhem absolutely destroy, all the opponents. So that is a trend I'm seeing. They kind of start off slow, but then they become heavy hitters towards the end, which is something you want to change, because teams can capitalize on that. But look at that beautiful spray by Robin. Didn't really connect a lot of shots, but the stability is something to be envious of.
Right, and looking at the way STALWART Sarang going down, and look at the way Robin, Blaze, Demon, these 3 players are trying to get inside the circle. They did have a setback, but then they fought and they tried to move in, but FINTOX fought back really well. They had a good start when their player actually was able to connect some shots. Nevertheless, we have FINTOX trying to move ahead with the rotation. 8.5 minutes into the game, just the first circle, and the game looks pretty slow compared to the games we have seen. Right now, FS Futurestation, the heroes from the last game, trying to continue off their rotation.
Well, the heroes from the last game, they don't have a kill to their name yet, and that might change very soon. But again, they're going to play a little safe. Of course, they want to make sure that the 4th and the 5th circle kind of force them to come in close contact with everyone else. But someone is getting close to someone else. It's going to be Optimum Esports, and they might go up against VR1 Esports. Now, Bash is in a wonderful position. However, in my opinion, he's exposing himself a little bit too much. And wait a second, he's actually jumped right in. Now, question is, does he know that compound is already taken? I think Deuce is going to be relaying all that information to his teammates, that guys, get ready, we have an assault coming in, and have a look at Team MYM in the distance as well. Oh my goodness, and that is just what I was expecting. Bash thought that his back was secure, but Deuce is going to come in and he gets that knock. He's going to definitely go in for that finish, make sure he gets his kill. And with that, Optimum Esports, again, not a lot of scouting done. I thought Bash would be in a good position to actually relay all that information to his team, but it seems like it's the other way around. But now they've got to be quick, because Team Mayhem might be coming in and joining the party as well.
Right, and now we might get to see a three-way fight, and we are talking about the game being slow, but it just seemed to have got that early spark, which might lead to a bigger boom. Yes, the boom happens, and Rage picks up Razor, and this would give Optimum VR1 a chance to move in at Team Optimum. Optimum down to 2 men already. It all comes down to Critic and Moose, two experienced players, how well they can handle the push coming in from VR1. However, it's a 2v4 situation, not easy, we know that. And we also have Mayhem trying to sneak in from the left. That's Critic going down, and what a good spray by Punk using that Uzi on a mid-range fight and to finish off Critic. And now it's Muiz all left all alone. I think Muiz might get a chance to sneak out if MYM tries to execute the third party. Yes, MYM is ready. They are hiding and taking their spots. They are just listening, smelling their opponents, I can say, and they would want to execute the perfect ambush.
Forget MYM. Have a look at that team. Insane are coming in as well. So we are going to have a party in this compound. Send the flyers out. Invite everyone. This is, again, something you want to see and not very common to Vikendi. We are going to see an early engagement in the second zone itself. So I'm excited. Let's see who's going to come out on top as Spray God aligns his sights, trying to get a few knocks on Team Mayhem. Now, Sensei might just be caught out, but I think he has got the info that, you know what, we've got to back off. We didn't make a move. I think that's what experience is all about. So they knew that a third party is in place, and they kind of had an idea that another team is coming in. So they had to decide, do we push in or do we back out? And I think they realized, you know what, we wasted too much time. It's a good time to back out, let them fight, and then swoop in later and, well, pick off whatever's left.
Right, and looking at the way Insane is trying to play a little bit safe here. Yes, they must be having eyes over this compound because they can hear those gunshots going around. And right now, MYM2 delayed their push, and which in turn I think might force them to back off. Yes, VR1 would still hold their fort. And Optimum, like I said, Muiz, he just backed off. Smart moves by all the concerned parties.
Absolutely, and of course, Moose is going to be the last man standing for his team. So now placement points are going to be something that he is going to be vying for. All the teams right now on our screens are in the zone, but very shortly, a couple of them might have to move out. But again, everything, it was inevitable. Mount Kresnich had to be one of those points in that zone that, you know, had to be hotly contested because it is literally a king of the hill situation. And if you control that compound right on top, as VR1 Esports has it on lockdown, well, you reign supreme. But MYM are also in a good position. If they can kind of fortify that little slope that they're on, that rock that you saw on our screens right now, right in the center, just a little to the above, to the left of VR1 skeleton. Now that rock can actually be instrumental in this compound fight because it gives you good cover on all directions. You have a lay of the land down slope, and I think that's a wonderful thing because MYM are now going to pick a fight with Team Insane, while VR1 are going to be listening to the gunfire, but unfortunately they can't move out because if they do, well, another team might just come in and steal their beautiful position.
Right, and looking at the way Insane are placed right now, I don't really think they're going to move in anytime soon. Also, the rock that you mentioned, XP, I believe that one of the players, whoever decides to take that rock, needs to be so skillful that that person ensures that before getting knocked, he knocks one of the persons from the opponent team. Otherwise, I mean, like he works as the eye of the team, and if the eye goes down, there are two disadvantages. First of all, they lose all the vision. Secondly, they go one man down. So I mean, like, it's too big of an ask from a team that might not be very much certain which player they might want to put to risk by sending him on top of that rock. But still, looking at the circle, that Mount Kresnik area looks so clogged, so cluttered. If the circle makes a shift, we might get to see some fight happening towards the same area as teams would want to make a move.
Absolutely. And the question is, where is the zone going to take us? Because in about another 10 or 15 seconds, we are going to have to move. A couple of teams are definitely going to be displaced. And I like the way, you know, Skeleton, just have a look at how that the vision is going around in a 360-degree direction. That is what you need from a team. You've got to always constantly be on the move and make sure that you have sights and eyes on everything. But the way the teams are closing in, sitting at home right now, I'm feeling that pressure. I'm feeling a little scared for this team, but where is the zone going to take us? Is it going to be a drastic shift, or are we going to stay around the same place? Looks like we are staying put. That means that compound, my dear friend, is going to be hotly contested, and we're going to see a lot of bodies and crates in just a matter of minutes.
Right, and looking at the way the circle has closed in, it still looks like that the center of the circle might just like it could be more biased towards the north of Port Vosto, and we could safely conclude that Nox and Syringe LS look at a good spot right now. However, we might get to see a split happening among between the islands, but then that it all comes down to holding that good spot. I think LS is a good spot even if the circle moves either way, because they're holding right the center of the bridge and they might be able to chip in those kills.
That is absolutely correct, and I love the way that Team MYM are kind of moving in as well. And of course, that particular compound that LS or LegStump have actually occupied, we've seen that in quite a few fights early on. Plus, they have the advantage of the frozen river and the bridge right next to it. So, they have a lot of options for cover, but that all goes out the window if you get spotted. And I think Manav just might have an idea that the enemy might be at the bridge again. It is a popular location, but now we're going to be concentrating on Nalayk as they are driving right towards Insane's location. Now, Insane, again, they were going to pick a fight with MYM earlier on, but the fact that Team MYM moved out, they've got their options open. And in fact, Ninja is going to be the one who's going to get first blood in this fight, as Insane Povali is going to go down to his knees, and well, there's going to be hot blood on that fresh coat of snow.
Right, and here we see FINTOX right in front of us, going against VR1. VR1 Punk went up that rock that you were talking about, and which better guy? From VR, if you talk about VR1, we have Punk or Deuce, either one of them. But I still believe Punk somehow overtakes Deuce in terms of gun skill set. And right now, Punk has actually pinned the boys from FINTOX.
And also just have a look, one of their members is still behind near that compound. They've kind of given up on the compound. They've got the high ground around it. They are lucky in the fact that no one's coming in and only one member is kind of towards their back, and that one member is Optimum Esports. So that's not going to be direct competition right now. Of course, he's just a little bit offset of our screens. You see him down there on the bottom. Now, between Ruiz and VR1, we have FINTOX, who might actually engage with AZTECS early on, because although they are on the slope, there's a lot of cover by the look of it. They are on the same playing field right now, as far as height goes. So I think they're going to be able to spot each other out earlier. VR1, they've got to be patient. If they are not patient, and if they kind of go downhill trying to pick a fight, that might be problematic for them.
Right, and looking at the way Insane is moving in, they did lose Uwali at the beginning, but right now they're trying to move inside the circle, and two of the players from Insane, Shockwave and Prince, did a somewhat a good job to pave their way inside the circle. We have Nalayk still surviving. All the 14 teams are still into play. We have had just 6 casualties, and XP for a dull and silent game.
I get it. It is dull and silent, but I'm actually kind of excited by seeing how these teams. Yeah, it's because I'm going to put myself in that position, right? What would I do? And if you know me, Thug, I am a very slow, calculating kind of guy. I'm not a rush and play kind of guy. I like getting all the information that I can, and that's exactly what's happening right now. So for me, I like that little excitement over there. But yes, we want to see more blood. Absolutely. There hasn't been a single team knockout as yet.
That's what I'm trying to imply here. The way these teams are playing, it's not about the teams. They are trying to fight it out, but it's more about the zone, the circle. Everyone's getting their own sweet chance to sit around the center spot. 6 teams getting space at the center of the circle. Then why would they even fight it out?
We need some RNG factor over here. We need the circle to be bouncing like a ping pong ball or like a pinball in a pinball machine from left to right. But this is it's like geometry class. I'm not even joking. It's like we're just drawing concentric circles, you're just reducing the radius from the compass a little bit. I'm sure all of you have done that plenty of times. We've all been in maths class, but it says something like that. I want to see some excitement. I want to see some drastic shifts. I want to see some haphazardness. And with that, MCYS is going to be finally knocked out, and Optimum Esports are going to be the first team to be eliminated. Now we are down to the 5th circle, if I'm not wrong. So I guess it's not going to be dull and boring anymore, Pug.
Now the circle looks quite concentric, split between the two islands. So what I'm guessing is we might get to see a little bit of fight happening towards the northern and the western part as I see teams closing in. This is the time we were all waiting for. The match is just heating up.
All you people who might have been falling a little bit sleepy, it's time to wake up, because now bullets are going to be flying, bodies are going to be dropping, and well, this is what we all come down for. Is your favorite team going to come out on top, or are they going to be obliterated by another? Well, you're going to have to wait and find out, as Punk definitely gets an idea that the enemy is nearby, and that enemy is none other than Team Insane. They've been on fire the last couple of games, winning the first and doing well in the second, sitting atop the leaderboard. But again, like I said, it's a big target on the back. And I'm pretty sure that, suppose... Wait a second, I'm just going to cut my thought. Have a look at the way VR1 are split up. I love the way Deuce is on the left of our screens, Rage and Skeleton are going to be, observing the northern aspect of the map, and Punk is making sure that the south is clear. That is what teamwork is all about.
Right, and I believe that the players are split really well, like you just mentioned, and you did that really well. But I'm a little bit concerned about RG splitting up towards the northern part of a circle. What I believe you need to split when you realize that you're at the best spot and you can hang on around that position for at least another circle. This is where teams make some minute mistake. They try to play split. They try split up so bad that once you get knocked when the circle shifts. And imagine RG getting knocked, one of the RG's player getting knocked here on. That would almost be like a knock would result in a finish, because it would be very difficult for someone to go back and revive him. Right now we have LF Mamba going against FS Pukar, but we have a situation between VR1 and Insane. A much awaited one, Insane spray god going down. That could be Shockwave going down as well, but that was a little bit of a bad spray coming in from Deuce.
I mean, he should have got him right. He should have got both of them. I think clearly a bit of hesitation, but he got one, and he's put Shockwave out of commission for about a minute or two. Not a minute or two, about 10-15 seconds, as he had to put the first aid. And now he's going to go in for the revive, possibly. Ooh, is he going to go in, or is he going to lob a grenade? He could have gone in like a ninja. He could have gone in that smoke quiet and just locked them out. But I think it's going to be even Stevens once again. But they've got to act quick, because VR1 is at one side and Nalayk is on the other. And Team Insane again. They have a massive target painted on the back. They could be in a world of trouble.
Right, and looking at the way we have Nalayk trying to sandwich Insane, like you said, Insane could be in a lot of trouble, and Shockwave might just be the first person who might just get picked up, because looking at the way he's positioned right now, he could be in a lot of trouble. We still have 13 48 players in the map. LF Lord picking up AZTECS Spidey. VR1 is somewhat caught at the edge of the circle, and Insane is moving off, doing a flank. That might just put Nalayk into a trouble. They are just trying to, sandwich Nalayk from both the angles. They are relying on Prince to be good enough to take a couple of plays, and this actually forces Nalayk to go on the back. But I think Nalayk did take note of that and instantly moved a little bit behind and decided to fall back. We have AZTECS Mighty down, but AZTECS still looks safe. But no, we have up 50 Mum coming in and picking up a couple of players. We had a 3-way fight here in which Lord Fram paid the price.
Well, they have paid the price. They bit the dust and they're out in the 13th position. But UP50 are still going up against AZTECS. And, well, we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. But coming back to this fight over here, I love the way IT Prince still held his ground. Now, all they needed to do over here, Team Insane, all they needed to do was make some noise. And that noise kind of spooked Nalayk. And they were pushed back without firing a single bullet. And kudos to the fact that Insane still held his ground. And, Prince, of course, still held his ground and was still focused on the opponents across towards the north. Because had they pushed in, ooh, that could have been devastating. But again, good teamwork on display by Team Insane. But now coming back to the fight between UP50 and AZTECS. We had a few knocks early on. Mamu is currently knocked right now, but they have picked up their remaining players. So we're still down to a 4v4 situation, a 4v3 right now. But they've got to be careful because FS and, well, I think they're just going to be driving past because this fight is taking place at the southern edge of the zone, just a little bit on the outside. So it's a make it or break it moment. AZTECS versus UP50, only one team is going to walk away alive. And Sarkar is on fire. But can he do that for his team right now? Let's find out.
Right, and down to 12 teams. Let's see if UP Sarkar is able to fight it out and hold the front wall for his team, because he is going against the mighty AZTECS, Stated Mighty. Okay, Mighty AZTECS, and we have AZTECS Mighty as well.
I like that. I like that.
I mean, like, that's tongue-in-cheek. And then we have Frost and Dark Cloud, who might want to push in, and Satan did get a very nice TPP advantage against up 50, and we are seeing all the players just moving in, and I think that would be GG for up 50. But also on a parallel, in the parallel world, we have LS versus FS going on, and both the teams look equally troubled, but
well,
ultimately LS prevailed.
It was going on, and I think LS was knocked out, wasn't it? Yep, there they go. They go out in the 10th position. Just before them, we saw UP50 exit the game as well. Now, this is absolutely chaotic. Now, if you are in a fight at close range, the best thing to do is make sure you end that fight. And IT Prince is going to find himself knocked out right now. Now, the Nalayks, they did kind of retreat back. They've gone under the bridge. They are on the frozen water right now. That is going to help them. Bonk is the one who got that knock on Insane. So we are one up against Team Insane. For me, they are the big dogs right now. And MYM is also rattling off bullets on Team Reckoning. Now, Reckoning, they are actually taking down some fire from either side because they have FINTOX in the zone, as you can see on your screens very well. And MYM are rotating in. I don't think it's going to be a massive hit in as, wait a second, is that Manav? It is Cloak and his teammate moving in. They are crashing their vehicles into the walls. They want blood, and you know what? They got it. Reckoning have been eliminated in the 9th position, and MYM, 4-man squad, 4 kills to their names. They are looking good and dominating in this game.
Right, and we are now down to VR1 once Insane. The fight that has been going since eternity, and VR1 just trying to pick these players off. Insane has been creating trouble for VR1 and has been a hindrance to their success in this particular game. Right now we have MI Model picking off knocks, but then Insane versus VR1. This fight is unstoppable. We cannot do anything to you know, make this team disengage because they are not in a mood right now. And we have Insane coming out in the open, but what an amazing cover by Spray God. I think both the teams have brought doom upon themselves as the zone kicks in. VR1 is down to 2 men. Insane ITP is taking the damage in, and what a lovely shot to pick off Deuce. And Insane showing why they are an insane team here.
Bloody hell, man. They're actually playing insane right now, but when Nalayk is going to come in from behind and he's going to get a knock on Shockwave, I think it's going to be a couple of easy kills for them. Can they capitalize on them? Because VR1 and Insane are all going down to the zone. He does capitalize on that 1 kill point, gets it for his team. Spray God is going to be survived by IT Prince. The question is, they are in the new zone, but they only have they have a minute. They can still make it. So Team Insane, against all odds, still in this fight. MYM, meanwhile, are still firing on all cylinders as they have all their members alive and kicking. And you know what? They are dishing out damage at all ends. But now, Nalayk, they know someone's here, and it's all on IT Prince's shoulders right now. Spray God might come in from some assistance, but they are hungry for kills. They are coming up. But Spray God gets Ninja, living up to his name yet again. Dark God is going to get spotted out as well. What did Nalayk just do? And wait a second, Mafia's coming up one by one. They just gave themselves on a platter to Team Insane, eliminated in the 7th position. And Tug, what is happening, mate?
That was not a great gameplay from Insane. Rather, it was very poor gameplay coming in from Nalayk, and that is the reason they are called Nalayk. Right now, we have MYM trying to target STALWART. I mean, like, that was disappointing. You are playing the game and you come out in the open, and you know you are served as a buffet, giving your opponent the chance to pick any one of the fruits. Anyways, MYM 10 at Cloak looks on a rampage right now. 3 kills to his name, 8 kills to MYM's name, and Mayhem is on a Mayhem right now. However, it actually might go to Mayhem's way unless AZTECS has some different plans, because AZTECS Esports right now has height advantage and they did spot Mayhem. Finally, we are getting to see all the big names: AZTECS, STALWART, Insane, Mayhem making it to the last circle.
They have, in fact, made it down to the last 4 teams, and it's going to be 3 very quickly as STALWART Esports get knocked out in the 5th position. Now, the AZTECS, they are laying down heavy lead in MYM's direction, but Manav and Immortal are the last men standing, and they are really close for comfort. Frost is going to go up against his old teammates at one time, and that's going to be exciting to see what comes out of this. Meanwhile, Manav is making sure that he holds down that tent, which he calls his home, and which he is going to defend till his last breath. But Cloak, on the other hand, has other ideas as he's trying to get a few knocks over here. Immortal does get taken down, so does Cloak, and looks like Manav is the last man standing for the mighty team MYM, who for now have 9 kills to their names. A good outing for them. And talking about big names, we have all the big names for you. VR1 Esports up against Team Mayhem, up against Team Insane, and lastly, AZTECS Esports with all 4 players alive.
Yes, the way AZTECS are fighting it out, this game obviously looks a way too much weighted towards the AZTECS team, because 4-man advantage, and obviously they do have a height advantage as well. But right now, if we see the way they are placed, they have the zone advantage as well. AZTECS have everything that they require to make it a perfect story. It's just that they need to ensure that they get enough number of kills so that they have some good points, stable 2 points to back them up in this particular game. But they are moving out in the open. I would not want to see another team, that too an experienced one, make a mistake like I guess which team was that? Nalayk did.
It was. And well, they have assistance in the form of VR1 as Skeleton comes in from behind and gets a knock on either member of the team. So that is something surprising over here. He does capitalize. He takes away a few kills. Now, for MYM, they've got to be careful because they've got a couple of teams shooting in from above. AZTECS, they had an uphill battle literally, but it looks like they have made the best of it as Frost, with his amazing aim, gets a knock on Manav, and Cloak is going to have to go into revival mode, which means that AZTECS are going to be moving in closer as Team Insane are going to be knocked out in the 4th position with a very good 7 kills to their names. Now, Frost is trying to make sure that he gets to the zone, but they also have to be content with the enemy. They're going to keep an eye on the kill feed. Manav has gone down to the play zone. Frost he knows about that. He goes out. He is going to out for blood. He gets a shot, but he gets taken down instead. The play zone is going to come in and take the kill from Frost, take the kill from Mayhem. With that, Mayhem getting eliminated in the 3rd position, 9 kills. Thug, I don't know what to say. I think that was a massive mistake. Maybe it was a good thing, but what is going on?
Look at the base Skeleton is playing out. I know the chicken dinner was obviously going in the hands of AZTECS, but VR1, one team that makes it out until the very end, and it's always VR1 that gets caught in a 3-party, 4-party situation, and they have been known to change the way the results, the outcome of the game. I mean, like, one guy sticks until the very end, picks off a couple of teams, spoils the gameplay, spoils the damage, does those 3rd parties, and they do something like VR1 always does it, and they make it to the top. And once again, we are going to see them with a 2nd finish, and I think 7 kills to their name.
My heart is beating. My heart is racing right now. That was some adrenaline pumping action towards the end. And with that, the MVP, the most valuable player from the match 3, is going to be AZTECS ESP's Frost. Now, that kind of makes sense because he is in a frosty condition. And I think Vikendi is his natural habitat because he's got 5 kills and 564 points of damage. Just an amazing display by this team. And again, VR1 Esports. Now, this time it wasn't Punk. It wasn't Deuce. It was Skeleton who stepped up to the plate. And to be honest with you, he almost clutched it away from the opponents. But what a game, and the utter chaos at the end. That is what I love.
Yeah, I mean, like, I loved every bit of this game. And like we said, we have always seen Vikendi to be slow. But then the end is what makes it exciting. Even though we got to see very concentric circles, even towards the end, none of those haphazard circles. Still, this Vikendi was a treat to our eyes.
Yes, sir, and on our screens right now, the top 5 players from the game. AZTECS Frost, of course, leading the charge, followed by Insane Spray God, who has been phenomenal today. 4 kills to his name, 576 points of damage, and of course, Skeleton. Now, the man of the moment for VR1, 3 kills, 609 points of damage. Again, this man is probably instrumental in making sure that VR1 Esports survived till the end, got the number of kills they did, and of course got those placement points. Manav and Ninja are going to be making up 4th and 5th positions, with Nalayk's Ninja doing some damage, finally getting his name on the board over here. But we talked about it. Now, again, we may laugh at the situation at that time, but we've been critical. If we see a good play, we'll be like, wow, that's a good play. If we see something silly, we'll be like, wow, that's silly. And that was a silly push. They were going uphill one by one. They knew what the enemy is, and they paid the ultimate price.
They must have realized when you look up and you put your crosshair towards the uphill, you realize that you have a blind spot and you cannot really spot the enemy. There was no sense for Nalayk to continue pushing that fight. But nevertheless, talking about AZTECS, once again, for the first time, 30 points to their name, and VR1 once again coming up with those 20 points, taking until the very end, and Mayhem having a good game finally for themselves with those 9 kill points, 10 placement points, and insane, so insane.
So insane and so consistent as well. I love the fact that they're actually firing on all cylinders. And Nalayk, now they've made it to the 5th position. They've got those placement points and they've got 3 kills. Not a high fragging affair for the remaining teams, but they've got to work on this now. Now, this is something they can actually build momentum on, because if I'm not mistaken, they are sitting in the last position in the overall standings. But Futurestation, now they had a good game last time around, but this time, they got caught out from all directions and paid the ultimate price. Also, I believe that, they were engaged in a fight way longer than they should have been. And you've got to learn when to back off fights. You've got to learn when to engage and disengage. And it's not like you're running away with your tail between your legs. It's just that you're going to reposition yourself and lay down the hurt later on. But again, that is what separates winners from the rest of the stock.
Yeah, I mean, like like I said, this would be a learning experience, and I definitely believe we'll see a positive learning trajectory for these teams as they move forward in PMCO, because this is an experience that teaches you a lot of new things. We have been in the same shoes in our careers. We know what this experience is. And talk about the match summary for this particular game. 50 kills, 55 knocks, 10 headshots, 155 smokes, and a lot of utilities coming into play. One airdrop related, 2 grenade kills, and you don't get vehicles, to be honest, to get those vehicle kills rolling.
Yeah, plus it's a little bit too much in the open. I'm kind of disappointed no vehicle kills. You kind of see them at the beginning of the matches nowadays because, once you're caught off in rotation, that's when you see people getting run over. Towards the end, usually it's the bullets that are doing all the talking. But, 3 games down, my friend. That means we have one more game in store for all our lovely viewers. And we're going to go back full circle. I do believe we're going to be fighting it out in Erangel.
Yeah, we have one last game that's gonna come down to Erangel. But before that, we want to have a quick look at the overall point standings that we have post-match. Be insane, sitting on top. The golden team having the golden finish, 59 points to PMCO, and then we have Mayhem tied with Futurestation, just a difference of a kill point. Mayhem sitting at the second spot with 41 points. Futurestation with 41 points as well, and then we have HEX ESP with 37 points. VR1 Esports with 36 points. Up 50 with 31, LegStump with 26, and FINTOX with 26 as well. Some teams are trying to hustle to the top, but then still a long way to go.
Yes, sir. And if you have a look at the latter half of the table, Nox Official are going to be in the 9th position with 23 points. STALWART Esports in 10th with 19, and Optimum Esports are going to be following them with 17 in the 11th position. Now, Team LegStump is a name over here that's going to be kind of misplaced, so you're going to be like, wait a second, is this correct? Is there something wrong with my eyes? They are in the 12th position. They definitely is a team that a lot is expected from them. They've got the experience, they've got the versatility, they've got the veterans playing the game. So again, but you did say that it's all about synergy at the end of the day, and that's what it comes down to. You got to play together, you got to get ego out of the way. We'll come back to that later because again, it is a learning experience. 3 games done, 1 game for the day, and it's only day 1. So they can kind of experiment a little bit now.
Yeah, I mean, like a couple of teams have taken a good margin of advantage. If you see the points and if you see the standings where they are placed, the top team is with 59 points and is clear of 15 points from the 18 points of the second team. So this particular, advantage that these teams have, this are big advantage, big numbers that might be difficult for other teams to recoup later on. So I'm just a little bit worried for those teams hanging around at the 6, 7, 8, 9 spot. Although it's just a semi-final, so we are not really in the fight for the PMPL slots here as of now. But then, I mean, like teams should do take note of that and work around that because the finals would be here soon. Speaking of that, let's just hop on to a quick break and we'll be right back for the last game.
Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Club Open Fall Split 2020.
I was waiting for the Indian edition. That's why I closed my eyes. I was like, okay, music
I,
to my
I,
ears.
I know, but
Okay,
then
let me
I'm gonna put
enjoy
you this
that.
spot. I'm like Indian edition.
And
There
guys,
we
we
go.
are gearing up for the last game. It's gonna be a cracker of game. And what a way to start the semi-finals for PMCO. Let's quickly take a look at the head-to-head Futurestation and Mayhem. Any insights?
Now, I just kind of went back on the recording a bit. That was beautiful. The way you had your eyes closed and I'm like, pointing at you. It was classic. But yes, we have the stats on our screens right now. Futurestation versus Team Mayhem. As far as damage goes, they're pretty much equal. Kills are also pretty much equal. Just 1 point differentiating them. The healing. Mayhem have been in the thick and thin of action more often. But then again, with Futurestation, I've kind of seen that, if in a game they decide to go big, they go big. But then other times, if they get caught out early on, they kind of fizzle out. So, it's kind of like they play at the opposite ends of the spectrum. They don't have anything in between. Team Mayhem, on the other hand, are like if this is the bottom and this is the top, they have a slow ascent to the top. They start off slow and then they build up that steam and they build up the momentum. It's like a giant snowball, getting bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill, and they act that way. So that is, I guess, the biggest difference between the two teams.
Yeah, I mean, and that difference might just show up in the last game where we have Erangel kicking in the game 4 for day 1. The flight path XP slicing through the center of the map. No issues. I mean, every team would be so happy looking at this flight path. Let's go where we want to go, and we have seen the drops happening in game 1. One of the teams would move to no rap. I think a couple towards military, which we might get to see a change. However, we did not. I don't really recall any hot drops in Erangel happening in Erangel.
Aha. However, though, 3 teams are heading to where they normally head to. Lord Fam is going to go to Novo Repnoy. Optimum Esports are going to be heading to the military base itself, whereas Nalayk this time, normally what Nalayk does is they loot those compounds a little north to the base, near the bridge, and then cross over. This time, they decided to go a bit further south. However, it looks like MYM are going to be flying over the base. They're going to head to their spot at Primorsk and split up between Primorsk and the ferry pair, which has been working out for them. Team Insane are dropping around the same location. They're going to be on the north side of the military bridge. So again, I'm going to be speculating and expecting that we see a bridge block. But again, we've seen the trend in the past few days. That is probably not going to happen. But again, the zone is going to be the determining factor. And if we have a bridge in play, we might actually see a bridge block.
Right, and looking at the way we have Nalayk doing against Optimum, I think this is happening for the second time. No, this was the first time we are going to see these two teams clash against each other. At drop, we did see this happening, and while Nalayk dominator meanwhile picking off Bash. But we did see this happening where they were caught rotating. I mean, Optimum did catch Nalayk rotating around the bridge last game, and this game they just went head on and Optimum paid the price. Nalayk getting that early kill, and we are getting to see a very similar circle to game 1. I mean, we have been seeing this circle consistently in PMCO. It's either the more biased towards the Gatka region. I think this is the most amount of this circle I've seen in any tournament.
I wonder if the circle is like this highly advanced AI that kind of knows that it's the PMCO, that it's the building blocks. It's like, I'm going to take it easy on you, and the PMPL, the circle gets tougher, and the World League is just absolute, chaos or something. I wonder if that's true, because, there are speculation that the AI will take over one day. Maybe, Thug, this is the start. It all starts off with PUBG Mobile. I know that joke makes no sense, but in my mind, it does. And I said it. But anyway, coming back to the game, we might actually see some bridge action because the bridge is still in play, but Nalayk taking out a member of Optimum Esports. Now again, why was he in that situation when every single time these teams have gone up against one another, they kind of have the same drop, so they know that is going to be contested property, yet it happened again, and this time they are down one member. I'm kind of skeptical about why that happened, and I'm kind of confused, to be honest with you.
I mean, the teams want to experiment, teams want to try out something new. Teams might be thinking that, okay, we have had good 3 games, we might be able to experiment in this one, but they need to be careful in this regards, because they are forgetting a very simple thing, that there are 7 teams who haven't gotten a chance to play those games. And we might get to see something entirely different, where those 7 teams average better against these teams, because it's not that those 7 are going to fight amongst themselves. They'll have a chance to taste their skill set against to test their set against the group A and B. So these teams need to be wary of Group C, wherein we have some big names coming in like XSpark and a couple of others, even FALLENangelz. So this teams, we have seen them performing really well. I'm not really sure if it's a good strategy. Talking about LS XP, we have Joker, Siren, Madman, Bhishma playing it out for LS throughout the day. No improvement, to be honest. I mean, like a couple of fights here and there, losses, casualties coming in, not being able to hold ground. What do you think LS should do here on? What should be the strategy?
Well, with Madman's addition, I mean, we didn't see Madman play a lot of games before. So, I mean, again, I don't know what's happening in that camp. I wonder who is going to be the strict IGL, whether there's a little bit of a communication gap, because there definitely is a lot of hesitancy that is on clear display for all of us to watch. So there is definitely something holding them back. It could be that, let me just give an example. Suppose I say the team should move to position A, and then you're my team, and you're like, you know what, I think position B is going to be better. Now, even if they kind of, squabble over that fact for a little while, that is precious time that has been wasted, and that is pretty much what has been their downfall. Not downfall per se, but they are in the slumps, and they definitely need to pick them up by their straps and just head out of that little slump, and let's see if they can do that. But they have a good team now with a lot of high. Again, it's the names too. When you have such high profile names, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a little tricky to keep them all in check, right?
Right, definitely. I mean, like, it's very difficult to, take care of all the aspects, all the teams, all the players, everything that's going around. Right now, Nalayk seem to be making a very good rotation. If you see, they've sneakily passed way from Mayhem, and they're trying to move towards Gatka. They might just have a good opportunity if they want to hold around that position, but by the looks of it, this circle looks not too much Gatka oriented, but somewhere towards where Insane, somewhere at the middle point of Nalayks and Insane. I mean, like, the teams need to be a little biased about the southern part, somewhat top of the end of the military bridge. What do you suggest?
Absolutely. And talking about the southern part, I just saw something interesting on the map. I'm pretty sure a few viewers must have seen that as well. Optimum, now they know that Lord Fam call Novo Repnoi their home. MCYS OP, in fact, just drove down along that street to that high compound above the containers, on that little hill before you go down to the containers. He actually went over there, got out of his vehicle, and had a look around. And they are expecting company from that side. So I'm going to think we might not see bridge action per se, but we might see something happening because the zone has moved a little bit further. But it's still the first zone. I beg your pardon. The zone is still there, but no part of Novo Repnoi bridge is in the zone. So they're going to have to move out. They might put up a little blockade around the gas station, which is currently occupied by FINTOX. And of course, all this that I'm talking right now is not going to make any sense to the viewers because you cannot see the map, but it's just a point that I noticed. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is Optimum Esports are ready. Meanwhile, Insane's ID Prince is going to get a knock and a finish on Nalayk's Dominator, who was straying a bit too far from his team.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a very good valid point and a valid situation that you pointed out. And if teams have started taking so much of notes from the games that are happening, this really shows that teams are taking it way more serious than me and you are expecting, to be honest. I mean, like, we saw in game one team Lord Fam going to Novo Rep, and team Optimum actually took notice of that and decided to see if they can get those sneaky kills from Lord Fam, if they are able to execute a third party. And Optimum actually resorted to a rotation against the interest of the circle, might maybe just to get some kills of LF, but looking at the way I see the vehicles moving, okay, so they're not doing that. They try to play it safe. They might have just worried about them getting bridge camped, but still, I mean, like, still teams are taking notes of their opponents, and we might see this entire tournament heat up in a couple of days. Once these three groups go against each other, once they know the game style, we might see stuff happening. But it's interesting to see how teams have flocked towards Pochinki, and a lot of teams are biased towards the northern side. I mean, like, this shows the mentality of the teams. They are thinking that the zone would shift somewhat northeastern.
Absolutely. And, talking about the northern side, I'm going to ask you a question. Are the members from Nox official from North India? Because every single game, I see them in the northern aspect of the zone, whichever map it is, be it Erangel, the first one, be it Sanhok, they were out on the board, be it Vikendi, they were in the north. These boys just love the north. And right now they've got that compound just a little northeast of that famous compound east of the containers of Georgia Paul. You can obviously see that on your screens right now. It's a good position, easily defendable. So, they don't really have a lot to worry about unless RG, that is Reckoning, might be coming in from behind at their position. So we're going to have to wait and find out what's happening, because the circle is going to move any second. And is it going to be another concentric circle? Not really, but still a lot of teams are going to be comfortable, not a lot of movement over here. And I think Reckoning are going to be staying put in their new spot, as they have made it to the next zone. And in the airdrop, the very first one in the game, we have the mighty Grotza, which I love saying, shreds people like a hot knife through butter at close range.
And those lovely words coming out. Like when you cast, I just sit back and relax. Look, I just want to listen to what you are saying, not what context. I just listen to the words that flow like music. But still, we have insane trying to close in at the church, the squad house near Pochinki. Good spot to be at, but generally it's a very difficult spot to defend unless you take those angles really well. You need to hold all the 3 angles, because generally this spot is exposed from multiple angles. You have hill on your back, you have the church towards your northeastern spot, you have the ridge in front of you, and you also have the low side of the hill towards your left, and obviously Pochinki on your right. However, if the circle ends up around this point, you have the only compound.
Well, that is why they used to call it the haunted house at one point, if you remember. Remember that? Yeah. I always used to wonder, why do you call it the haunted house? And then once I actually took up, residence in that house and tried to defend it, I was like, all right, I get it. It's haunted because there's so many bodies over there. It is a hotly contested property, and, well, let's see if someone is going to be strong enough and brave enough to hold it against a horde of enemies.
Right, and looking at the way these teams are now trying to move forward, we have LS Madman, Vishwa, Syringe, and Joker holding around School, trying to take some space, but Syringe unable to connect even a single shot. They have those compounds towards the eastern part of the school that that is divided, that is away from Pochinki, separated by a hill. So like everyone is around Pochinki right now. I'm not really sure why they're doing that, because by the looks of it, the circle could go anywhere. And I mean, like, if the circle takes a drastic shift, you might get to see too much of unwanted aggression happening.
True that. I think Spray God in real life is a skinny man, because he tried to jump through those bars with his character, but that is not possible in the game. He's like, wait a second, I've done that before, but he's going to back out. They have that church on lockdown just north of Pochinki. It is a good spot again. You have a good 360 lay of the land around you, and if you're a sharp shooter, you can get those amazing bolt action shots from right up top, which is something I want to see. But have a look at all this chaos. Everything is coming down to the compounds northeast of Pochinki. We have a lot of teams coming in close proximity to one another. Those ridges are going to be in play as well. So again, a lot of exciting gameplay in store for us. And this is still the 3rd zone. So as we move in the 4th and the 5th circles, the action is just going to get more intense. Meanwhile, on our screens right now, Futurestation, we've been talking about them quite a bit. Somraj, Bopro, Pokar, and Frag OP. They had a good game, but then after that, they kind of fizzled out. I wonder if they've changed anything and they're going to bring something new to the table, because the position they're in, Thug, those ridges, it's a high risk, high reward situation. High risk because, you have a good command of the valley, but you are also vulnerable at all sides, so you got to be constantly moving.
Yes, and looking at the way MYM Tenet Sensei, Manav, Immortal, and Cloak, I mean, like, MYM finally is able to find that good playing foe from the big roster that they have presented in this PMCO, and they're finally able to perform pretty well. We have up 50, pretty close to them, and MYM, I'm not really sure about the compound they are holding. I've seen this compound being another risky one, like the one I mentioned, the Haunted Squad houses, similar to Haunted Squad house. There are multiple angles you can get fired from. 2 of the MYM players, they left, and I think MYM is going for another rotation. They aren't really too confident about the place they are holding right now, and might want to move closer. And like I said, the circle shifted a lot, and
I like that
a lot. And like Optimum is the only team that has look at the way
all the teams.
Everyone is on their hills. Like, they just want to move ASAP. But LF could move into the circle very sneakily. They have a good spot. I don't see a reason why they need to hold the edges. They should just go in.
They should probably go in for that compound right in front of them,
Right.
just below that airdrop. But Nalayk are coming in, and we're going to join a fight which is breaking out between Nox Official and Team LegStump. Now, LegStump is going to lose another man as Madman goes down to a grenade, courtesy of Nox Official. Ooh, that one almost doing them in. But now Bhishma is the man of the moment. He's going to make sure that nobody approaches his fallen comrades, while Mayank is already on that rotation. And this is going to be devastating. He's going to spot them out. He shoots, he aims, he gets a few shots. Sidrange is going to go down. Madman's gun is definitely exposed. They are coming in for the kill. And Nox Official, like I said before, Thug, aggression is the key to their success. And well, they are going all out aggressive with Joker, the last man standing. But it is now a 2v1 situation as SlayGod is going to come in from behind. Joker is going to bite the bullet. And with that, the first team, I repeat, the first team to be eliminated in this game is LegStump. Thug, straight to you.
Unfortunate scenes for LegStump. I mean, like, they are choking really bad. But here we have a situation between Nox and MYM. Manav and Cloak moving in blindly. But the nades coming in right on time. We have XSlayGod alone surviving for his team. Another nade, and that could be doomsday for Nox. Let's see if Cloak is able to take their nod, but Cloak just wants to push in. The two of the players are healed up. He goes out to spray, picks one off, and he will be soon having that cover fire. MYM executing the perfect third party, those on-point nades. They're gonna smoke up the entire place and go for that loot. What a good gameplay we're going to see for MYM, but they need to be careful as we have Optimum and AZTECS right on top.
I mean, that was, again, like I said, high risk, high reward. This whole hillside has a lot of these positions where you can do that. And MYM just capitalized on that situation. They realized a fight just took place before them. And Nox Official, they didn't have a lot of time to celebrate as Team MYM came in and spoiled the whole mood. But that is what this game is. It is a battle royale after all. And at the end, you can only have one team emerging victorious. And now MYM, that confidence must have been high in the camp right now. They are going to make sure they fortify their position for as long as they can, as they are still in the zone. But the question is, the zone is about to change, and ooh, they are just outside. I mean, Sensei seems like he's inside, but now the problem is, right in front of them, it's open terrain, right? And it's an uphill battle. So they're definitely going to have to move their position and probably head a bit north. The question is, where are they going to find that sweet spot? Because AZTECS have it on lockdown at one end, and Optimum Esports, who did lose Bash earlier on, they've got a pretty good command at the other.
Right, and talking about Optimum, they are, although they are down one man, which they got an early casualty in the game around military base. Right now, AZTECS seems to be trying to take some picks of FINTOX, but those picks not really connect. Mighty did have a good chance to take the shots. He did waste a lot of bullets on FINTOX, but was not able to convert it into a knock. On this potato hill, we have three squads, where we have AZTECS, Optimum, and we have, I think, FINTOX moving up high, and also STALWARTs closing in. So we could have a really tough situation. The team that holds, the team that stays low wins the fight.
Absolutely, and AZTECS now, they are in a good spot, Thug, but there's not a lot of cover, especially with, like you mentioned, STALWART Esports is moving in. Then we have FINTOX coming in as well. They're a bit off screen towards the bottom left, if you want it for a little bit of, wait a second. I thought that was the enemy coming in, but that was just Aztec Mighty relocating his vehicle. Then, of course, we have Optimum Esports towards your northwest. And now AZTECS Dark Lord laying down some lead in SE's direction. Ooh, almost getting a knock over there, but looks like STALWART Esports member is going to be still alive. And is that Stony? I think it is Stony, but now Nalayk are going to be driving through as well, and they're going to be delivering some hurt as well. Now Dark Lord gets a knock. He does not. It's Aztec Frost who gets a knock, but now Nalayk again, Thug, their rotations is what is bringing them down. I think they're going to be at the receiving end of things right now, as STALWART Esports are losing members as well. Now they are down to a three-man squad with Sarang trying to lay off the opposition that is heading their way. Grenades are being lobbed, and to be honest with you, it is quite chaotic. And Nalayk, again, it was kind of expected. That push was not the best, and they find themselves eliminated from the game in the 12th position.
Right, and Nalayk's not being able to hold on, and here we have aces for the FINTOX. The situation is still on, and FINTOX Hunt took off up 50 Daddy and Frost. FINTOX is moving straight up towards where AZTECS is, and I think FINTOX could be in a lot of trouble. They are surrounded by VR1 on one side, AZTECS on right, sitting on top of them. AZTECS are at a risky spot, but I somehow felt that AZTECS are secured from all the sides. If you look at their position, they don't have any team looking at them from their right. They have a team straight up in front of them, and then they have FINTOX to their left. AZTECS might be able to pull off some good kills. Right now, STALWART, AZTECS, Mayhem, all the teams are with have those 4-man squads. So we are getting to see too much of action happening, but not much casualties happening in front of my eyes.
And the fact that the AZTECS, they have the high ground, plus they have the dip, is also going to be instrumental to their success. But that is, of course, we're going to find out in a matter of minutes over here, because UP50 are in a good position as well, but they are downhill, so not an immediate threat, but they can be a problem later on in case the zone shifts further, you know, kind of maybe east towards Potato Hill. If that happens, now all these teams are going to have to move in, and let's have a look and see where the zone goes. If it goes east, it goes east, and there you have it. Now UP50, AZTECS, FINTOX, STALWART Esports, VR1, they are all going to migrate, and it is going to be a war zone at the eastern edge of the new zone.
Yes, and the circle is this is the most weird circle that we have seen in all the games. The circle is playing a lot with all the teams and following the similar kind of pattern that we got to see in the World League, where the circle generally went to places where very less teams stacked in, even though if it was towards the end of the game. This is the 5th circle, which made a drastic shift towards the right, and not many teams that I see there. Optimum is holding the best spot still, but it's going to be very difficult to hold the fort. They will have teams coming in from all directions. I'm not really sure how well will they be able to do that.
Have a look at the minimap. It is absolutely crazy the way so many colors are converging in on number 11's position. Now, Optimum Esports, like I said, when you are the king of the hill, someone is always going to try and dethrone you. And right now, we have Team Insane at one end, Reckoning at the other, UP50 coming in. AZTECS have just landed on top of this Potato Hill as well, and they're going to be controlling that compound right in front of us, that little hut and that little shack to its side. It's a 4-man squad. Ooh, Dormammu almost getting knocked out. That grenade just obliterating the vehicle. Another grenade comes in. There is absolutely no respite from them as all the teams are colliding with one another. Again, it's like a kaleidoscope right now, full of different colors, but all those colors want to kill each other. That is what is happening, and UP50 are going to be capitalizing on the situation as they did not 1, not 2, but 3 knocks on Team MYM. Make that 4. I think we might see an early elimination over here. Again, absolute pandemonium.
Right, and here we have a chaos, a mayhem, like we can call it, and AZTECS going down as well. Satan and Dark were the last 2 guys surviving. UP50 pushing them from one side. RG trying to execute a third party from the B end, and also we have Team 11, 6 and 14 who are moving in. We have Dark Lord trying to fight it out and hang on until the very end, and Dark Lord might need to go in and put some revs. Meanwhile, RG trying to third party, and UP50 might find themselves in a tough spot, getting sandwiched between 2 teams. Meanwhile, Optimum also trying to see if they can rake in some kills. And yes, they might be able to execute a third party over all the teams, and UP50 KSR moving in just to get those kills in. We have absolute chaotic situation out here. XP.
This is a free-for-all. It's like I'm in a fish market right now. Buy one, get one free, because that's what's happening, because people are just coming in and hitting one another, and someone else is taking the kills. I'm surprised that Optimum Esports is still alive with all 3 members intact. Now, they were in the position where, you know, everything could have gone wrong for them, but this particular place, these 2 rocks over here on this hill, thought this is my favorite spot, because predominantly, like, I'm a long-range fighter, right? If I have to pick a close-range battle, that is the best spot to be in, especially in this circle. And well, they are definitely putting it to good use. Meanwhile, Lord Fam is opening up against FINTOX with a couple of members going down. Explicit and Royal get knocked out, and STALWART Esports are going to come in and steal the kills. So expect a lot of kill stealing, but Lord Fam retaliates on STALWART Esports, knocking out Sarang in turn, and FINTOX are going to be survived by their last man hunt. Meanwhile, AZTECS are down to 2 members. Satan and Frost are going to be taking a fight against the world, as UP50 have capitalized very sneakily on this position, and they are currently the 4 runners for this game, but they have to be content with Team 10, which is of course Reckoning, who are still a 4-man squad. And have a look at that map. They kind of have it in lockdown. So now all these teams are going to be slaying one another as they make their way to the new zone, and if Reckoning is patient, they just might win this game.
I mean, like, this is the make it and break it moment for Reckoning. They were like, no one would serve them a chicken dinner better without an effortless chicken dinner. I mean, like, what they need to do is just hold and ensure that they don't get picked off. They would have teams coming on right on their face. Meanwhile, we have a situation where I see Sarang coming up with a smoke, and it looks like Sarang thinks that he's playing, you know, a very different kind of game here, and he is picking another player off. But I mean, like the smoke trick that he tried to do, trying to get the player out of cover, that does not really work in T1 teams because players are able to differentiate by the sound of the pin, which type of nade is being used, if it's a smoke one or a the one with a kill or a frag one.
Just have a look at the chaos right now, Thug. I'm sorry to cut you off, but just MYM just exited. Team Insane now put themselves in a precarious situation, and Exotic from Reckoning are going to be laying down some lead in their direction. Now, it is time for Reckoning, but they've got to be careful. Have a look at how Optimum have rotated a bit towards their west, towards your top left of your screens. Now, that can be a position they can lay down a punishment for Reckoning, but Optimum Razor, they are picking a fight with STALWART Esports at this time, and Reckoning are on the move. That is good. I love the fact that they are not planted in the ground right now. They are moving around, making sure they get as much loot as they can, as much smoke grenades as they can, because that is going to be pivotal from this point on.
Yep, and looking at the way we have teams in front of us, 7 teams, 16 players, RG and FS looking so strong. Futurestation once again making it to the top. Although they are lacking up the number of kills that they have, but I still that we are moving towards a very interesting game. RG Exotics, they have their eyes everywhere. They're trying to pick up players from FS, they're trying to pick up players from Optimum. Optimum might, like either of the teams will have to take an advantage, but then no, Razor picks up LF Kiru, immediately gets punished by Insane Exom Shockwave, picking him off. Optimum down to 2-man. We have Insane surviving somehow as well. 3 players, 2 kills to their name. We have RG0 picking up Pukar. It's a fight going all directions. Each team is targeting everyone. RG0 picked up FS Pukar. 14 teams, 5 players. Let's see if Reckoning can make it through, because right now it's a 4v3v2 situation. It looks tough. I mean, like it looks tough. But then the zone once again switch in favor of RG. RG needs to ensure that they eliminate FS, or else they are going to be in a lot of trouble, and this is what they're doing best. Picks up another one. Clowny leading the charge for his team, but he needs to be careful of Insane pushing in from the top as well.
That is just beautiful. I couldn't have said it better, because now FS are going to find themselves surrounded and they are going to be eliminated. Somraj is the last guy standing. Insane could be in a good position. And you know what? Insane have made it for their next game as well. This game as well. Top 5 position. That is absolutely brilliant. Such consistent gameplay. Shockwave shocking us all with another knock on Noob YT and a headshot with that Scarlet. That is going to give them an advantage to push in. Somraj, meanwhile, is going to be absolutely silent in that little smoke in the middle. He doesn't want to make a single move. Optimum Esports, however, have just fascinated me and surprised me. The way they have been playing, the way they have rotated, and in the blink of an eye they went from 1 to 7 kills. But now their work is still not done, because they have UP50 at one end and Team Insane, who look nigh unstoppable, at the other. 3 members alive. Thug, it can go either way. I think it's Reckoning versus Team Insane. It's going to come down to that. Forget that. Somraj overhead reducing Team Insane to 2-man, and Shockwave is going to finally put him out of his misery.
Yeah, I mean, like FS finally did not scare the teams of like we have generally seen them doing. They generally end up third partying and giving us unexpected results. Right now, it all comes down to Reckoning. They have the 4-man advantage. They cannot choke here on this. Like I said, they won't be served the chicken dinner better if they aren't able to convert this one. But look at the way Optimum have played. 7 kills to their name, still surviving. MCYS and Razor leading the chart. Sarkar spotted by Clowny and might just go down. Clowny somehow trying to dodge the shot, but I'm not understanding why is there not a cover fire coming in from the players of Reckoning. And he goes down. This might give an opening to other teams like Insane to move in. I'm not really sure if Shockwave has a spot or an angle towards RG. But then if they continue to play this way, look at MCYS. Look at MCYS. He understands that there's one player from UP surviving, and MCYS moves in to get that kill off. Down to 3 teams. We have an 8 people alive in the map. 4v2v2 situation. Who do you think got this XP?
Look, on paper, Reckoning have it.
Definitely.
Of course, Clowny is firing on all cylinders, so that man is someone that you cannot mess with. But Optimum Esports have just surprised me. So has Team Insane. So this is probably one of the best finishes we could ask for to a day of PUBG Mobile action. 3 top teams right now going up against one another. Oh, I think MCYS OP has an idea that the enemies are nearby. He goes prone. He is going to smell something in the distance, and I think Shockwave might just come under his crossfire, or maybe Povali could be in his crosshairs as well. But I like the fact that Reckoning are deploying some smoke screens right now. They want to make sure they cover every single inch. I like the fact that they are pretty much spread out, and Noob YT is going to make sure he moves that vehicle in the smoke so that they can kind of get a, like that third-person perspective look. But I love the fact that MCYS OP, I mean, that man has the hearing of a fox, because he heard a little rustle in the grass behind him, spotted Puvali trying to jump to make sure he gets a look. He saw him. I got that. That was a bit too much exposure for Puvali, and he does get spotted out, taken out by MCYS OP. Meanwhile, Razor is going to be knocking down Clowny. Zero does get the knock on Razor, but it's going to be MCYS OP versus RG versus one man from Team Insane. Bloody hell, mate. This is absolutely amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, like this 4v1v1 situation, Optimum is doing such a great job taking care of both the teams. The way MCYS took one off, gave his teammate the time to heal, got his teammates the time to heal up himself. And right now, again, we have a situation where RG is trying to move in. We have Noob YT pushing in, but at the end, RG just spread their wings. They saw all the directions. Suddenly, the shots which were not connected at one shot, and they wiped out the entire map. I mean, like all the three players were alive, kicking and doing well. Suddenly RG just, I mean, like they summoned the Super Saiyan and they just went in.
The time for reckoning is now.
I think that's what's happening right now.
Right.
I hope that was dramatic enough, but that is what's happening because they're finally waking up, and reckoning walking away with that chicken dinner is just amazing. And Thug, I love the fact that it's a different team which has won all the maps today. But on top right now, MCYS OP, the guy who they got from Initiative Esports on loan, is on fire. The MVP, 4 kills, 735 points of damage.
Great job by MCYS OP. I mean, like finally the player is standing up to his name. He has been leading his ex-team from the front. And I was, even I was disappointed looking at these names. These are the names that have recently come up in the past 4-5 months, and they have been doing really well in the domestic circuit. Seeing them perform finally definitely makes us feel good and gives us good vibes about this event as a whole. We have MCYS OP obviously leading the charge, but Clowny, what a great job for his team picking off those important kills and getting those important knocks. 3 kills to his name, and not to forget Razor, the way he and MCYS tag team against the opponents. They did a great job wiping out up 50, getting their team to the second spot if I'm not wrong. I mean, like overall it was a great game, great show by Optimum and RG. Insane, I felt, went too passive when they had the chance and they paid the price.
I guess I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I mean, see, they still survived right till the end, and they lost one member earlier on, but that wasn't enough to bring them down. But yes, they kind of went a little passive aggressive, and that's what kind of isn't working out for them. But we have the leaderboard on our screens right now. Match 4 standings for you. Reckoning right on top with 8 kills and that chicken dinner with a total of 28 points. Optimum Esports, what a wonderful performance, 23 points, and again against all odds. I thought that when that circle shifted on the top of Potato Hill, that's it, they're done for. But they survived till the very end. Now, if we talk about a few disappointments, LegStump, what is happening here? Everything was going for you in this game, but again, they kind of choked. I don't want to use that word choke, but that is exactly what happened. Because, again, high caliber player, once you have expectations and you're on a pedestal, and if you don't act the way you're supposed to, I'm not trying to be mean right now, people are going to get nasty. But again, we are just critical of them because we're looking at it all way, right? I mean, if you do good, we do good. If you do bad, we see bad. So again, LegStump, mate, I think they need to just tone it up a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, like they do need to polish their skills. They need to get their things set right. But talking about the match summary, we had 61 knocks and some good amount of utilities used. 246 smokes and nades coming into play. The level of the strategy that Indian teams use nowadays, the skill set, all this stuff have I mean, like we are seeing a quantum shift happening where the teams have evolved. I mean, like it's not just a parallel graphical shift, it's just an evolution of teams. They have just changed the way Indian teams approach the competitive side of PUBG Mobile nowadays.
It kind of means that we are perceptive to new ideas as well, because if you remember back in the day, we had that one same old routine: get a knock, rush the enemy. Right. But enough of that, because we have the leaderboard after 4 matches on our screens, and Team Insane are right up there on the top with 1 chicken dinner. However, they do have 25 kills, which means they have a total of 73 points, a massive lead over Futurestation, who have 50 points. Now, Team Mayhem, they still hold on to that 3rd position, Thug, but they are slipping. They started off with a bang, but they're not really catching that momentum as we expected from them.
Yeah, apart from that, I believe that Mayhem is pretty cool. Like apart from Team 1, all the other teams are pretty close to each other when it comes to points, and tomorrow we'll see Group C kicking in. That's when I want to see the difference being made, because the average is pretty low. I mean, like Mayhem at 43 points, 47 points to their name, just an average of 11.75. That's really bad, given the sense that we have seen other teams like FALLENangelz, they go ham. Like we have seen them averaging 13, 14, and so on. I'm not really sure what we're going to see tomorrow, but LS sitting right there, the second last with just 18 points to their name in 4 games. LS, I am worried about them.
I mean, that's genuine. I mean, we're not just saying this because and it's not just because we're friends also, because it's also that, yes, because you expect something a lot better from them. But again, it's day one, Thug. Maybe they're just testing the waters. Maybe, they put their foot in and, the water was a bit too cold. So they're going to wait for the temperature to, just warm up a bit. And maybe tomorrow they might show us something different. But again, I love the fact that a lot of the teams have finally woken up. And let's have a look at the kill leaders, as Insane Spray God is going to be leading the charge with 9 kills and 1493 points of damage. But following him, Shockwave. 8 kills to his name and a massive 1948 points of damage. I mean, Insane boys, they're living up to the name, aren't they? They're going insane.
Yeah, definitely. And not that other players are falling much behind. We have up to Dormammu. I actually want to know what's the reason behind that name, but still, 7
we'll
kills
ask him.
to his name, and AZTECS Frost with 6 kills as well. We have Pukar, Tenet Cloak, and Mighty with 6 and 5 kills each. Overall, every team has that star performer trying to play up for his team. And so we do have a list of 10 kills, but top 10 players, but eventually it's about the top 5 teams.
It is about the top 5 teams, and I was just talking to Mr. Rex earlier. I think he's happy with that, by the way. If you guys know that, that's Mr. Rex. Say hi. Hi. We'll come to that with jokes tomorrow. But anyway, it is about the top 5 teams, and the competition is really close. Now, we kind of think that Team Insane are running away with the show, but, a big name is going to be entering the field tomorrow, and you might know them as Team X. Ooh.
Team X with a spark, and the spark might lead to an ignition. They have done wonders in the past. We expect to do them again, but for that we'll have to wait for tomorrow. We still have another day to go. Would have been a good start for Team XSpark to read the opponents that they are gonna face tomorrow. The Group C kicks in. I think we have Group C going against Group B tomorrow, if I'm not wrong.
Well, we are going to have to wait for tomorrow and find out. I do have the notes in front of me, but then I'm going to be looking away from the camera, and I don't want to do that. But I think, I can tell you one thing for sure, Thug.
Group C
is definitely
I understand that. I mean, Group C is definitely playing tomorrow, guys. So we will be waiting to see which team they go against. But what a cracker of a start for day one. Insane, the team that was lacking on the opening weekend, for finally kicking up. Like, they were the very last, the bottom 3 alongside LS. Team Insane did their job on day one. LS needs to do it.
I think the tables are kind of turning for the two teams, and I definitely feel that Team Insane kind of held back. They don't want to give it, they don't want to show everything that they've got, but now they have to do it because we only have a few more days left, and after that it's going to be the finals. So the top 5 spots are definitely going to be hotly contested, and looks like Insane have got the job done. LS, we're waiting for you.
Definitely, and we'll get to see more action coming from them. But for today, it's me, 8-Bit Thug, and alongside me, XP, signing off. And we're gonna see you guys soon tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Stay home.